because sometimes like people come to my house and like sometimes kids come to my house and they tamper with my camera because it's in the living room. So what tends to happen is sometimes when kids are playing around with the camera, they might like switch it on and leave it on. So when I came to start my stream, I noticed that my battery was dead. I know I do have a spare battery, but then I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. So after looking for the spare battery for like 15 minutes, I was like, let me just delay the stream and try to charge the camera for a bit before the stream starts. So that's why there was a delay, guys. That's why. Um, so yeah, that was basically what happened. So sorry for the delay. It's quite late for some of you. I am well aware. But anyway, jumping straight into it. The first thing we want to talk about, breaking news, John Galliano is now going to design at Zara. They announced a 2-year creative partnership. As you can see via Zara's official Instagram page, Zara announces a 2-year creative partnership with John Galliano, who will re-author the brand's archives through a series of seasonal collections. Mr. Galliano will be working directly with garments from Zara's past seasons, deconstructing and reconfiguring them into new seasonal expressions and creations. Guided by couture process and authorship, the collections will be released seasonally over the course of the partnership beginning in September 2026. Now, something that's really interesting about this is it's very vague, because does this mean that this partnership is sustainable in the sense that obviously Zara, fast fashion, they probably have tons and tons of unsold clothing that he can work with. Is he like deconstructing and reconstructing that? I saw in a BOF article they said with the use of new materials. So I think they're being vague on purpose. But yeah, I think this news is really interesting for so many reasons. I mean, where do we even start? I remember when there were all these creative director appointments and everyone was speculating, oh, is John Galliano going to go to Versace? Is John Galliano going to go to Alaya? Like all this sort of stuff. So I think Zara was definitely not on anyone's bingo card. Now, this whole, strategy of fast fashion brands tapping these really high level couturiers and designers is nothing new. I have been, talking about this for quite a while now. I feel like it's a broken record, the amount of times that, I bring this point up. But these fast fashion brands, they are trying to elevate their product offering and they're trying to elevate the perception of how people perceive these brands. They don't want to be fast fashion anymore. They have been kicked in the butt by the ultra fast fashion brands like Shein. And Shein, I believe in 2023 generated $32.2 billion and H&M generated 22 billion. So you can see there's a huge disparity. So these fast fashion brands, they know for a fact they can't compete. So they have decided the only way they can survive is to elevate their clothing and kind of become mid-level brands, like affordable luxury, kind of enter that category. That's why H&M has had those massive runway shows. There was a recent one that I covered in London. Zara has been doing this a lot. Zara has also been tapping so many other designers. So you guys might remember, for example, recently Zara tapped Stefano Pilati and he's designed a few collections there. The collections actually weren't bad, to be fair. They're actually quite decent. So yeah, they've worked with Stefano Pilati. This is some of the collection here. For those of you that haven't seen some of the pieces. Also very recently, Zara worked with the designer Ludovic de Saint-Saëns. He designed a collection with Zara as well and had that huge campaign that was quite viral on social media. So this is kind of part of the strategy for these fast fashion brands, right? They're tapping, yeah, someone said Samuel Ross. That's true. Samuel Ross did also, he was tapped to do a collection with Zara. So they've been tapping a lot of these cool brands, cool designers, and they're hoping, I guess, that over time, the perception will just change of what Zara is. Because, it's all about what people grow up with. So I'm Gen Z, and I think for Gen Z and millennials, it's kind of already too late. We see fast fashion as fast fashion. But for the younger demographics, this might be how they kind of mentally change the way that these people perceive the likes of a Zara or the likes of a H&M. And maybe over time, people genuinely start to see these brands as affordable luxury. I personally think that the whole thing is a scam. Because, and why I say it's a whole scam is because if these fast fashion brands are increasing prices to try and be seen as, affordable luxury, but the quality is the same or it's getting worse, which in the case of most of these brands, the quality constantly goes down, then that's kind of a scam, isn't it? It makes sense if the prices go up in line with inflation, but we all know watching the stream that that's not the case. That's not what happens most of the time. That's not what happens. So yeah, yeah. Someone said it's a scam. It's marketing propaganda, aka liars. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Let me see what you guys are saying. What do you guys in general feel about John Galliano? Do you like it? I will say though, it's kind of like with these fast fashion things, it's a big dilemma. I'll tell you why it's a big dilemma. So the problem is, a lot of the time, designers say, especially luxury designers, they say that they are kind of upset that their work and their designs aren't accessible to more people. So that's normally the argument that a lot of people make when they work with fast fashion. You could make the argument that it's kind of a cop out because, you're just making money and that's kind of like a good excuse. Or there's some people that genuinely mean that. Like I know Kanye West, for example, he wanted to work with fast fashion brands because he genuinely wanted, like it was genuine. Like he wanted more people to have access to his designs. So he always pushed to make it cheaper and cheaper and more accessible and more accessible. So there are some designers like that. So it's like, how do we see the Galliano situation with Zara? Some people have tried to make the argument that it's the case that he wants his design to be more accessible. Some people are saying he's just there to take the money from Zara because they have all this money. Like Inditex, has a lot of money. So I'm curious to know kind of, what direction you guys think it's coming from. Someone saying crazy that Galliano accepted this job. This is like when Tyskins did Theory. I don't like Galliano doing this, but I could see a friend of mine grabbing something from his collections for the affordability if it's well designed. Margiela was a visionary in seeing this happening ages ago. Good for him. Yeah, all of those Belgian designers saw that happening. That's why they all quit. Apart from Dries Van Noten and Walter van Beirendonck. So yeah. How does this line up with the alleged Galliano Met Gala in 2027, according to Dana Thomas? Is this for money to revive his label or publicity to court Dior for a return? If you're trying to court Galliano for a Dior role, first of all, I think J.W. Anderson is going to be there for a while, it seems. Secondly, I don't know. I just think they just offered him a lot of money. I honestly think that's what it is. So it's kind of, they offered him a lot of money, probably money that it's almost impossible to refuse. And so he ended up, saying yes. I don't think it's any deeper than that, to be honest. But the Met Gala return, because initially, according to that article, I remember, Luke, what you're talking about. Initially, the reason why they didn't want John Galliano to be the theme of the Met Gala is because they were like, oh, he's too problematic. And considering, what's going on politically in Israel, for example, it would just be insane to have John Galliano as the theme. 2 years later, it's still kind of a similar political situation. So that hasn't changed. So I can't see anytime soon Galliano being the Met Gala theme. I just don't see it. Culture says yes, but the quality. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I've ever bought anything from Zara in my entire life, so I don't actually really know how good or bad the quality is. Some people tell me, I like to talk to normal people. When I say normal people, I mean people that aren't so deep into fashion like me, just to get their opinions on fashion. And a lot of people I know that buy Zara, like some of my friends or like just people I know personally, they say that it lasts really long and the quality isn't too bad. Like, people I know see Zara as like luxury, which is crazy from my perspective, but like, that's how people see it. So, I don't know. How bad is the quality? I'm guessing it's bad because I mean it's Zara, but how bad is it? Also, it's not really explicit that it's all upcycled. Yeah, I don't know if it is all upcycled or not. That's why I was saying earlier, they're being a bit vague about it. I don't like how vague they are about the whole thing, to be honest. Someone saying, I hope he's trying to revive his label. I don't think that's up to him. LVMH still owns the rights to his namesake label, right? So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'd rather have Galliano than Bezos. We're not going to get rid of Bezos. They're buying up the whole Met Gala. They own it at this point. But he's also a man of integrity, so he would have only accepted it if it would have led to something after. LVMH selling his label back to him. I don't think he would go to Zara to love Zara. Galliano, a man of integrity. How can you say that for certain? I mean, I don't know him personally, but I don't know. That's a big statement. Bro, Gen Z and Alpha doesn't romanticize fashion or fashion history. This will work well as a bridge to most people without knowledge of fashion history. Yeah, 100%. The crazy thing, not that I'm like okaying what Galliano is doing or whatever. Um, it's just I don't like some people don't understand how tiny like there's a reason why all my streams get less than 10k views because the kind of topics that I cover are really niche. Most people do not care about the stuff we talk about on these streams, right? I just like it and I'm interested. So I appreciate this tiny corner of the internet I've been able to galvanize. But most people don't care. Most people are just going to be like, cool designer at Zara, I'm going to buy it. That's kind of what most people are going to do. I don't think morally that many people care. And, you know, it's sad, but that's just the reality. Yeah, someone talking about Bad Bunny wars Zara at the Super Bowl, money talks. Yeah, that was a big talking point around the Super Bowl. A lot of people are talking about that. Let's see. I'm kind of behind. Kind of behind. I hate how people are trying to justify or intellectualize this move. Galliano knows full well what Zara has done and continues to do. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. How do these luxury brand designers really feel about the cheap fabrics, poor crafting that their designs are manufactured into? Do they not care or do they cringe and bear it for the money? I honestly think that it's the money. It's the money. And I think they weigh the pros and cons. I think they weigh I think they weigh if it's going to affect their legacy negatively or not, right? It's just like my I when going back to me when I did that thing with H&M, right? And people were like, oh my god, you worked with H&M, and I was trying to make the argument that like I cover these fast fashion stories anyway. So H&M were like, we'll pay you to say what you already say, which is literally like this conversation we're having. Zara hasn't paid me to like talk about John Galliano at Zara, right? But if they did pay me, we'd still have the exact same conversation. So it's like sometimes you can do things in a way that it doesn't really change anything. That's not really the case for designers though. I can't lie. Designers can't really use that argument because they're not going to design for a fast fashion brand anyway if they're paid or if they're not paid. But what I'm making that point to rationalize that maybe for Galliano, he's weighed how much backlash he thinks he's going to get versus how worth it is, I guess, for him in terms of how much he was paid. I guess that's just what it is. I think that's what it is. High-end brands charging $800 for brass jewelry. The silver tone brass. They should pay me to not talk about them. I'm doing it anyway. Yeah, exactly. Everyone has a price too, even Galliano, and especially in fashion. That's true. That's definitely true. No matter how you slice it, it's a stain to the resume. I don't. Maybe, but I don't know. Okay. Do you know why I don't know? Karl Lagerfeld, right, is someone who I guess we can say is the reason why this whole high fashion designers and couturiers are working with fast fashion brands. Karl Lagerfeld was the start of it with his collaboration with H&M. Since at H&M, we've seen many collaborations. Off the top of my head, we've seen Erdem, Maison Margiela, Simone Rocha, Balmain, Kenzo, so many others. Anyway, you guys get the point. I don't think that Karl Lagerfeld working with H&M has actually affected his legacy in any way, if we're going to be really honest. Like, when people talk about Karl Lagerfeld as a designer, when people talk about Karl Lagerfeld negatively, it's more him as a person. Like, his persona, the sexist things he said, the fatphobic things he said, the body shaming things he said. That's more the critique I've seen that he gets. I don't think he gets much negative critique from working with H&M. So I don't know. It maybe to some people it's sustained, but I just don't know that, in 10 years from now, or let's say after Galliano passes, 20 years after he passes, people will be like, oh, but the one terrible thing was that he worked with Zara. I don't know if that will be like a really big talking point. If we're just going based on kind of a lot of other designers that have worked with fast fashion brands, I don't know. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. I'm curious to get your thoughts. Luke says, but Karl's collab was with his eponymous label, which was never luxury anyway. It was a contemporary label. Chanel under Karl would never have collabed with H&M, but Galliano has always been luxury. True, but it's still kind of... When we think of Karl Lagerfeld for H&M, we don't really think of it being a collaboration between his eponymous label and H&M. We just think Karl Lagerfeld, the man, designed a collection for H&M. That's how we mentally think about it. This probably gives Galliano the chance to have a more relaxed design process. And at this age, does he really want to be pumping out all those collections at a major house? Probably. I think after because this contract I know is 2 years old. After the contract expires, I'm very sure that Galliano is going to end up at some big house. For sure. I mean, it's John Galliano. John Galliano is probably the kind of person that will be designing until his last breath. He's just one of those kind of people. I think the problem is the jump. Galliano is taking us more intense than those previous designers. Coming out of retirement for this hits harder. I mean, did Galliano retire though? Can we call it coming out of retirement? Or can we just call it his break has ended? Leo says, I don't think it's bad for a designer to want their designs to be vastly accessible. I also think there is a crowd of people that idolize his mystique, but have never been able to afford it. Totally agree. They do have a point though. We're a lot more conscious towards fast fashion than we were when Karl worked with them. Good point. I just question the extent to which Galliano's work at Zara will even be accessible, because if they're looking to use this as a vessel to begin price hiking, this is just nasty. Now, that's a very good point, because I want to know the price point of his Zara, because obviously Zara has their Zara studio thing that's more expensive and supposed to be made with better quality fabrics, whatever, Zara Atelier, Zara Studio, whatever they call it. And the Stefano Pilati stuff, the Ludovic de Saint-Saëns stuff is that line, so it's more expensive. So Galliano's stuff, when they say more accessible, it doesn't mean £50 for a jacket or $70 for it. It means $250 for a coat. That's kind of what it means when they say it's going to be. It's definitely going to be way more expensive than the typical mainline stuff that they make, for sure. That's 100% for sure. Let's see. People are also surprised because they see him as such a couturier, so there's an expectation that he works in a very pure way. But from Dior Margiela to this is a sad downgrade. Yeah, I mean, perception-wise, it's definitely a big downgrade, if we're going to be honest. 100%. 100%. Didn't Random Identity, if you're talking about Stefano Pilati, my understanding is that Random Identity's closed down, no? As far as I know. Um, his first collection after graduating retailed $1,000 for like a coat, and that was in the mid 80s. Why is Zara going luxury when no one has money? Doesn't it make more sense to stay affordable? So they're not going luxury per se, they're going affordable luxury. I think there has to be like there's a big difference there. I think it has to be like mentioned that there's like a massive difference between like luxury and affordable luxury. Yeah, they're not going to luxury. Something I did kind of want to show you guys, because Reuters had this like amazing article that you guys should check out like years ago. I remember covering it. It's this article here. It's how Shein outgrew Zara and H&M and pioneered fast fashion 2.0. And it essentially highlights what I talk about very often when I say that this is how this ultra fast fashion, this new category of fast fashion, has kind of forced the hand of these other brands. And they have this amazing chart here that shows you how much more revenue Shein makes than other typical fast fashion companies. So like Forever 21, Boohoo, ASOS, Primark, H&M. Inditex is close, but Shein is growing at a much faster rate than Inditex. So you can see the huge disparity between Shein and all the other fast fashion brands. So that's why. That's literally why they've been forced to change their strategy. Yeah, like Dr. Jean said, it's happening because they're getting their ass kicked in their own league. Exactly. Literally. They are the Detroit Pistons of fast fashion right now. Kerry Taylor's book says the long coat retails for around £500, which was equivalent to an average monthly wage at the time. So that's not really unreal, only because, Luke, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was very normalized to spend a high percentage of your wage on clothing. And that's why clothing wasn't really cheap. Like, so for example, designers like Bibba, she was kind of like making more trendy stuff, kind of like Mary Quant clothing, but more affordable. And at that time when she was designing, like you think of like the 70s, for example, you would actually notice that even her clothing that was considered more affordable, more accessible, would still cost like a wage's worth. It's just, that's why people back then used to have less clothing. They just used to wear the same clothing over and over again, and the quality was good. Nowadays, because as customers, we have insane expectations, that's why it's crazy now that even something affordable, something affordable should not be anywhere close like a wage, because it's just not how we treat fashion. It's not, the market isn't like that anymore. People are more throwaway with the way that they purchase clothing and the way that they use clothing. We just have different spending habits and a different relationship with our clothing these days. How would we react if the collab was with Shein instead? I feel like we would crucify him a lot more, but they're both as bad as each other. Nah, Shein is significantly worse than Zara. I wouldn't say that Zara and Shein are as bad as each other, to be very honest with you. I'd say that Shein is like way, way, way worse than Zara. Like, it's really bad. Really, really bad, to be honest. Let me see what else you guys are saying about John Galliano at Zara. Do you know what I want to do? I want to see what the response is on the Zara page, just to get like an understanding of what the current temperature is around John Galliano's appointment. It's not really an appointment, it's just like an announcement of him designing collections for 2 years. But just see kind of like what people feel about it. Someone is saying the legend returns. This is so mega. I'm confused about the press release. Is he directly working with old stock, meaning the old clothes will be repurposed? Or is he just redesigning them, meaning the new designs will be made from scratch? Yeah, I had like a similar question. it's so vague. Someone needs to clarify that. But I kind of feel like maybe they didn't clarify it on purpose. Maybe they're not clarifying it on purpose because maybe it isn't so sustainable. So it's kind of like they would rather let us speculate because it gives them plausible deniability, which is typical. Typical. Let's see. Officially, my favorite brand now is Zara. So what brand did this person like before? Questionable. Someone is saying we're in for a treat. Okay, so it's quite positive on the Zara page. Take my money, the legend returns. Okay, someone is asking me, I think Luke is asking me to look at the comments on One Granary. So let me see what's being said. Okay, One Granary is the complete opposite. Ursula says rest in poo. Darlings, it's probably a licensing agreement. Zara Designs. Galliano's name's printed on it and he gets his royalties. The wording is misleading and probably part of the contract. Boo, I don't know what to say. Oh dear, the whole social media brand ambassadors and designers flip-flopping from label to label has killed it. Stick with the classic labels. I checked if it's April 1st today. This is so iconic and ironic because King Galliano is literally saying, fuck what fashion became. And this is how I see you all. Okay, that's not what Galliano... I'm as a journalist, I tend to play devil's advocate a lot. So I like argue for and against things like I did for Galliano. But let's be fucking for real. Like, what is this person saying? Galliano is saying, fuck what fashion became. This is how I see you all. This is not a drastic switch, but a deeper message. High fashion and fast fashion became the same, reposing on two things, image and quantity. Genius move from him. I don't even want to know the amount of zeros on a contract. Genius move. Let's relax. This person is coping. This is like elite coping. That coping is crazy. Relax. Like, relax. This was not an intelligent move. They offered him money. He's a free agent and he signed the contract. Like, people need to relax about this was such a genius move. And, you know, it's just talking about how fast fashion has become intertwined with luxury fashion, and him collecting millions as a designer at Zara is a commentary on the world that we live in currently and the state of the fashion, the state of the fashion system as we live in it. Like, come on. That's the kind of thing that a Demna fan would say about a Demna collection, where Demna designs an IKEA bag and then they're like, this is just a sensational commentary on how IKEA and the bags of the working class can be recontextualized into a luxury landscape. And what Demna wanted to do is this intellectual commentary on kind of the daily bags that we use and kind of how we sort of interact with these different objects that carry our items on a daily basis. It's like, relax. But anyway, those are my thoughts on John Galliano's appointment or kind of him designing collections at Zara. I'm very curious to see what they look like, what the quality will be like. The price point will also be very interesting because, yeah, I want to know how accessible is it going to be. So, yeah, that should be very, very interesting. Next on the agenda, I wanted to react to this video that I saw on YouTube. I've been deliberately holding off watching it because I wanted to react to it live on stream. And essentially, it's a video about sneaker resellers going broke. Now, this is actually so fascinating to me because, as most of you will know, when I first got into fashion, I was a sneaker reseller because the first brand I ever got into was Yohji Yamamoto, as most of you know. And obviously, if any of you know anything about Yoji mainline is stupidly expensive. Like, it's just outrageously expensive. So I had to resell Supreme, resell Palace at the time, resell sneakers. And all that money was how I was able to afford Ys and Y3 and the odd Yoji mainline piece here and there and Anime Star and all those pieces. So I kind of have a fond connection to the sneaker community because of it. But I just think that the hype of, sneaker culture in general is not the same. Like the amount of money that I used to make reselling sneakers was insane back then. I don't even think you could anymore. So I'm curious because I don't really follow sneaker culture the way I used to when I was a reseller. So this will be interesting to react to. But let's watch.
Does anyone want to explain why shoes are literally just dying right now? I own a sneaker store and we've been struggling for the last couple months. And y'all can say, oh, it's because you overprice things. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, it's a Yeezy. You're overpricing it. It's $110. Retails like 2 something. Market's like 190. I'm pricing it at 110. It's brand new.
Sneaker resellers are down bad and now have to finally get real jobs. For over a decade now, sneaker reselling has went from a niche hobby into a culture that takes advantage of genuine enthusiasts and collectors. Resellers convince themselves that they were entrepreneurs running legitimate businesses, but they're just scalpers who add zero value to society. They buy up the products meant for consumers, hoard them all in their mom's basement, and then just suck out the money from all the people who just want.
Let's relax. Sneaker resellers are definitely entrepreneurs. Like if you're setting up, like some of these sneaker resellers had like sophisticated systems. I definitely think that sneaker reselling is like problematic because one of the issues with just reselling in general, and this is kind of why I stopped it, because I just think like ethically, it stops the people that would actually wear the stuff from having access to it, because obviously a lot of people can't afford the resale price of a lot of things. So if they can't snag it at retail price, then they just can't afford it. So it takes those products away from people that would probably really enjoy those items and probably wear them for years. So there's definitely an issue with it. But to say that they're not entrepreneurs, I think is a bit of a stretch. They definitely are. There's sneaker resellers that used to make millions. They're definitely entrepreneurs.
Want to wear the damn shoes. But luckily, now resellers are stuck with inventory that they can't move. Shoes that used to flip for $500 are now sitting at $200 or under with no buyers. These stores that built their entire business model around resale are now struggling to pay their rent. And the people who made it their full-time job are realizing that they're essentially unemployed with no transferable skills. For years, resellers operated under this delusion that they were running a legitimate business. They'd post on social media about their operations, their inventory, their profit margins. They like to talk about sneakers like they're trading stocks and they're a finance bro who lives in New York City. Resellers have now killed the community that they claim to love and be a part of.
Yeah, that customer wanted $100 for those dead stock metallic 5s. I told him that's I can do is $50 store.
Let me tell you guys when I stopped reselling sneakers, because I wasn't like a big reseller. I literally used to buy one pair. I used to queue up in the cold weather or overnight. I used to buy one pair and resell that one pair. I was never a huge, a huge person that used to get, some resellers used to buy like 50, 100. I was never that person. But let me show you guys why I stopped reselling. I'll tell you guys a story. I just need to see if I can find an article on this whole crazy thing that happened. Okay, cool. So these shoes here, these V-Lone Air Force Ones, right? So sneaker reselling used to be a very nice community. The same thing with like Supreme and most things, right? Because less people knew about it. So I was just the guy that was really into fashion, like into my Yoji and my Anime Star and all those sort of things, right? And I just used to resell so I could have some extra money to buy the stuff that I wanted to wear. Fine. other people were there because there were skate kids, or other kids that were there because they were models, and so they would resell so they could go to Milan for a casting. Or like there were very like genuine reasons why people are reselling. I don't think anyone ever resold to get rich. It was never like we're trying to resell to become rich, or it's like a business model. All of us kind of used to resell because we wanted to like buy something specific, or like go on this one holiday, or like I said with the models, go on this one casting. And so it was just a genuine community. I'm actually really good friends with a lot of people I used to resell with, because a lot of them now are creative directors at brands, designers, some of them are big models now, stylists, creative people, just like photographers. Really, really cool people. So that was when sneaker culture, fashion culture, to me, that was the peak of it, when everything was like normal and it was full of normal people. But as time started to progress, other people that were outside of this community started to realize, oh, you can make a lot of money reselling. So something as simple as, for example, there never needed to be security at these drops, because everyone would kind of just take care of each other, and we all used to follow the same list. When all these other people started getting involved, we would follow a list, and then some people would be like, well, I'm not following that list. Why should I follow that list? And then people start arguing, and then people start fighting, then it would get violent. Eventually, it would get so violent, people would get stabbed. That's why Supreme had to start hiring loads of security. Palace had loads of security. Every drop started to have security. And then the height of just chaos of these drops was this V-Loan drop in London, where people literally were beaten up, people were stepped on, people were punched for these shoes. And that was when I just personally decided after this drop, I was like, this whole thing is not for me. It's not like I'm in it to make loads of money anyway. I'm just in it to fund like Yoji, basically. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. I don't need to get punched in the face for a pair of Air Force Ones. It's not that serious. So that's kind of why I just dusted my hands off of the sneaker community and like the whole reselling thing. Because yeah, the whole game just became disgusting to me personally. So that was when I kind of left, and that was kind of when I started to see the whole thing get really toxic, and people started getting into it for the wrong reasons, and it just, yeah, it wasn't for me.
Store credit. What's up, boss man? What can I do for you?
Yeah, bro, I just got these.
We got some Dunks and Yeezy 350s. People still wear these? All right. Oh, man, this is scuffed as fuck. I'll do 75 for both. And that's a good deal.
Bro, what? They're going for 500 each online right now.
Nah, bro, like I get you, but like they have no box. They're dirty. They're scuffs. There's dog shit on the bottom of this one. I'm doing you a favor.
I don't know, man. That's pretty low.
I'll tell you what. Rock, paper, scissors. If I win, I'll give you $200 store credit. If you win, $150 cash. How's that sound?
Dude, what the fuck? You're kidding, right?
Hold that thought. Today's video is brought to you by...
How you doing today? All right, I guess I'll go myself then, whatever.
Every pair that they bought to flip was a pair that didn't go to someone else who actually wanted to wear it. And now they're trying to throw a pity party saying that no one wants to buy their shoes. Every person who is into sneakers has at one point tried to get a limited pair of shoes to be able to wear for themselves, just to lose the raffles and have all of the pairs bought up by these greedy resellers who happen to have 200 pairs the same day that the shoe came out. The reseller mentality is all focused on...
Yeah, so that's problematic. Like someone having 200 pairs is just so problematic, because then like the actual people that actually care about the sneakers don't have access to it. That's like an issue for sure. Like morally, that's like a huge issue. Kind of what this person is saying, because people aren't real sneakerheads. They are only resellers. Yeah, I agree. Because even when I used to resell sneakers, I was actually a sneakerhead myself. I still am, to be fair. I just don't have unlimited money. So I sold a lot of my sneakers so I could buy like boots and loafers that I want to wear. But yeah, Yeah, 200 is insane to me. Like, just buying 200 is just crazy. I remember when I gracefully bowed out of the sneaker game when the Concord 11s came out. Oh, I remember that. I remember that time. I remember. 2013, 14ish, it was hell on earth. I remember. I'm I bowed out way after that, but I do remember what you're talking about. I remember that time.
On the short term. They never had sustainability or cared about building something that would actually last. All that mattered was making as much money as possible from other people before the hype dried up. And now that the sneaker market is dead, resellers are moving on and being scummy in other industries just like we would expect from them. Pokemon trading cards, toys, collectibles, really anything that has that artificial scarcity and the potential to be able to resell.
So this is the thing, right? This is the problem with like reselling in general. Because of this idea of like reselling sneakers, I feel like people just do it with everything now. Like, you can't even buy concert tickets anymore. Like, you have to be, when I remember when I was younger, if Beyonce announced a concert ticket, if like a concert, if you wanted to go to the Beyonce concert, you could just buy the tickets. Like, so long as you buy it within like the first day or two, because after a couple of days it will be sold out. But anyone that wanted to really go, you could actually go. You could actually find tickets. Now you just have these resellers that just bought all the tickets, and then you just can't buy anything without paying resale prices. People bought everything. They bought like sports tickets. They bought, and that's why it's annoying. It's just started to become resellers are just doing everything. Like, look at Labubus, for example. Resellers started buying up all the Labubu. It's just so annoying. It's actually so disgusting.
Only thing that mattered was making money and exploiting whatever market that they could just to profit. Look at all of the popular sneaker stores that used to be popular 10 years ago. They went from solely selling sneakers to now selling Labubus and doing whatnot streams where they're pretty much begging people to buy overpriced toys. This is the most pathetic and desperate attempt to keep their business alive. They're trying to replicate the sneaker resale model in a different market, and they use the same tactics because it is all focused on the same scarcity. And the thing is, every market that they touch, they will eventually destroy because their business model is just unsustainable. They don't help the communities, they don't create value, and they don't contribute anything positive. And then they move on to the next thing. And we could see the same exact pattern happen right now with Pokemon cards. A few years ago, these same people began flooding into the trading card market whenever they saw the prices start to explode. The vintage Pokemon cards that sat in binders for years suddenly became worth thousands of dollars. And the resellers saw this as an opportunity to make more money. They bought up everything they could, from booster boxes, ETBs, individual cards, any sort of sealed product. But the same thing is happening now that always happens whenever resellers join a market: oversaturation. The Pokemon company has started printing more, and the supply is finally catching up with the demand. And now a lot of the cards that were selling for thousands of dollars are barely moving for a fraction of the price. And these Pokemon cards...
Do you know what? That's hilarious though, because some of these resellers, they probably like buy these cards in bulk and then they sat on it thinking that the the value was going to go up, and the value went down. So I do find it funny when he was like, a lot of these resellers, they act like, you know, they're finance bros, and they talk about these things like their stocks and shares. And they act like their stocks and shares, and now the value of their Pokemon cards are just like, they've gone down drastically and they've lost loads of money. That's funny.
Scalpers are now stuck with all of the inventory that they couldn't sell, just like the resellers with sneakers. We've seen the same exact pattern repeat across multiple industries. And the worst part is they're going to do this again and again with every single industry until people stop buying from them. It's so pathetic to see how many resellers have moved on to Labubus and Pokemon cards whenever their market died. The main problem is greed, and they become a plague to every single hobby that they touch. For years within sneakers, Nike and other brands carefully controlled the supply of their most hype releases. They intentionally put out limited quantities, they did exclusive collaborations, they even did regional drops only coming out in certain parts of the world, and all of this was designed to create that sense of urgency. The more scarce that the products are, the more they drove demand, and then that demand later translated into increased prices on a secondary market. But then everything shifted a few years ago. Nike realized how much money that they were actually leaving on the table. They could make way more money just by flooding the market. So instead of releasing one colorway of a popular shoe every year, they started releasing one.
I love that Nike did that because I remember when I used to resell, like in the earlier time when it wasn't as problematic. I don't think that Nike cared about flooding the market or any of the brands, Adidas, Nike. And the reason why they didn't care is because the sneakers were still in the community, kind of like being worn. Because I was always a sneakerhead, so I knew a lot of the sneakers that I was buying, they were so limited that I could wear them myself for like a year or two and then sell them for slightly more than I bought them for used because of how hyped they are. So most of the shoes that I bought, I would wear them for a while and then sell and then resell them and then use the extra money to then buy the Yoji and stuff. But like, so it was still being worn by people in the community. But once Nike started to realize that there's this massive secondhand market and we aren't seeing any of the money, that's when they started flooding the market and like Jordan 1s everywhere, Dunks everywhere. When I was younger, it was so hard to get your hands on Dunks. Like, especially for someone like me, because I live in London, but I was really into sneakers because I used to play basketball. So I used to see the kind of sneakers that people are wearing in the US, and then I would like get people to buy me shoes. Like my dad would go to the US for work, and then I would get him to like buy me like Dunks and like blazers and crazy colorways that we wouldn't get in the UK and stuff like that. So in the UK, it was even more of like a niche thing, like really niche. So it was just so different when all this reselling started happening and no one was actually wearing the shoes that they were buying. People just solely buying it to sell it. Like, like an entrepreneur. That's why I was like, you can't say they're not entrepreneurs. So yeah, once Nike started flooding the market, it was RIP for these resellers.
Every month. Dunks, Jordan 1s, Jordan 4s, all of these shoes that were previously always hyped and had resale value were just being pumped out and oversaturated. And when Nike increased the supply, it was actually a really positive thing for everyone. The resellers loved it because they were able to grab up more pairs and have more opportunities to make money. And the consumers also had more releases and a higher number of stock to actually be able to get the shoes that they want. But eventually the market hit that saturation point. Really, consumers only have so much money and so much space in their closet. It's like whenever you own 10 pairs of Dunks or even 10 pairs of Jordans, that 11th pair doesn't really feel as special as it used to. The resellers kept buying and they stockpiled hundreds of pairs, expecting to flip them for profit down the line. But the demand never really came back. Or really, the demand did come, but it was met with so much supply that the prices stayed at or below retail. Resellers are now finding themselves sitting on a mountain worth of dead stock with no buyers.
Why are they... The way they talk about shoes, reseller lost 7K in Jordan 1 investment. These guys think they're investing in gold. They think they are investing in FTSE 100 companies. They think they're investing in the S&P 500. Like, why are you investing 7K in Jordan 1s?
Nike realized that they could restock anything and they could still make insane amounts of money. Consumers realize that they don't have to pay resale anymore because the shoes will eventually come back out, or another sneaker will drop just next week that will come out that they'll have the chance to buy at or below retail. For years, the market grew because consumers had that disposable income and they were willing to drop hundreds of dollars on shoes. We all know how hard inflation has hit within the last couple of years. Cost of living has increased across the board. Rent is still going up. Groceries are insanely expensive, and so are gas prices. Suddenly, the average consumer just can't justify spending $400 on a pair of Jordans when their paycheck is already stretched thin, just covering their basic necessities. The resellers never planned for this. In fact, they were scaling at this point. They capitalized on the market and assumed that people would always be there to buy their shoes. But whenever someone is faced with the choice of paying rent and just surviving or buying that brand new pair of Jordans, we all know what 99% of people are going to do. But now we are seeing so many resellers actually complaining about the economy killing their business whenever they were the ones who were price gouging people, especially during some of their hardest times financially.
Yeah, that's crazy that they're complaining about the economy killing their business. Like, you're part of the reason why people can't they don't have affordable shoes because they can't pay the retail price. They have to pay the resale price to get access to those things. And when you consider we're in a market where, oh my God, like maybe this is just like normal. I don't know. Some of you watching the stream might be really rich, but for normal people like me, the amount of money that like groceries cost is dumbfounding to me. If I was to think of like my grocery bill, like my weekly grocery bill, buying the exact same things when just before COVID happened versus now, which is not really that long, versus how high on average wages have increased, it's outrageous. Like I would say since before COVID started, my grocery cost and buying the exact same things has definitely like gone up 6 times, which is insane because wages on average have not increased 6 times. So when you consider we're in that kind of economy, of course people can't afford to buy like all these kind of sneakers and stuff. Of course. Like it makes all the sense in the world. Like literally, it makes all the sense.
Financially. I think it's ironic as much as it is pathetic. This has just exposed how fragile their entire business model really was from the start. Resellers who quit their jobs to flip shoes full time are now finding themselves with no income and no way to pay their bills. The dumbasses who took out loans to buy inventory in bulk are now going underwater, and they're unable to sell the stock that they've been hoarding for years for even a fraction of what they paid. Reselling is never a stable career path. It's kind of always been like that gold rush where people are making money selling the shovels, not actually going and doing the work and finding the gold. These people are...
This guy is correct. Like reselling was never ever something that was sustainable. Like that's why even I said earlier, all of us that used to resell, first of all, we weren't resellers in the sense of like we used to buy in bulk. We are just like buying shoes and then wearing some, and then if we had like more than one pair, we would resell it, use that money to buy stuff that we need or whatever. But the people that are doing it as a business, of course it's not sustainable because the hype goes up and down. It's like gambling. You can't really tell when things will go up or when they'll go down. It's like those people that are like, oh, I'm sitting on the sneakers. The value is going to go up and then it tanks because Nike does a re-release. Like you can't tell. It's kind of like gambling. So if people thought that they could just be a reseller forever, that is a bit silly, to be fair. That is a bit silly. Reselling is something that you do, I guess, in college for extra income. It's like those kind of things. It's not a real career. It's not like something that you can do for like 10, 15, 20 years as a career.
Idiots who deserve to go broke at this point, and it is straight delusional to think that people will feel bad whenever you've been taking advantage of them for years. And the market crash wasn't just because Nike started pumping out more shoes. A big part is the quality control problem. We've seen so many posts online of glue stains, misaligned stitching, and just creased leather that comes straight out of a brand new box. That is just unacceptable for most people. People no longer trusted that they were getting a premium product. They stopped believing in the shoes that they were buying and thinking it's worth the inflated prices. And we could talk about all of these different factors, but the simple fact of it is that trends change. But now consumers, especially the younger kids, are moving towards different styles. They're more focused on comfort and affordability rather than hype. Think about all of the brands that are blowing up right now, like Hoka, On Running, and New Balance. And it's all because that they're offering something different and innovative that we haven't really seen before. The resellers always assumed that Jordans and Dunks would be in demand. They thought that this hype would last.
Also, I would put like Salomon in that category too, of like those brands that are kind of taking Nike's market share and people wear a lot in like fashionable ways. Yeah, like Hoka, On Running, Salomon, Adidas. Obviously, they've been doing crazy on the lifestyle with like Gazelles and Sambas and stuff. Asics. Also, people make fun of the way I say Asics. You guys do know that like Japanese people say Asics. They don't say Asics in Japan. Just letting you guys know, because people always make fun of me when I say it that way. Yeah, Puma's doing really well, of course, with the Speed Cats. So yeah, it's just, I actually love it that it's like that, because when there's less hype, it means people actually just buy the shoes that they like. When everything is available to you, people just genuinely buy the shoes that they like versus the hype stuff, to be honest. So yeah.
Forever, but even the term hype in general by definition is temporary. Gen Z doesn't really have the same attachment to Jordans like millennials do. We never watch Michael Jordan play basketball in real time, and there's not really a nostalgic attachment to the 90s basketball culture that made sneakers really popular in the first place. For a lot of the younger kids, Jordans are kind of just what their parents wore. They're not willing to pay $400 for a shoe just because it has the Jumpman or Nike Air logo. They want something that reflects their own identity and their own culture, not something that was passed down to them by their parents. And personally, I've seen so many other kids moving on to affordable alternatives or just buying reps rather than paying the ridiculous resale prices. Reps and fake sneakers have become so socially acceptable because at this point they look exactly like the real thing. No kid in high school who has $100 to their name is willing to save up money for a Travis Scott whenever they can just buy a fake pair on some Chinese website for under $50. It's almost cooler for some kids to have a pair of Adidas Gazelles or even some Tims over having that newest Air Jordan release. And it's so satisfying now that the sneaker resellers are actually losing money. But one of the most irritating and false narratives of resellers is that they think that they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about the reps argument. We've talked about reps on this channel. The problem with reps is that you don't know where that money is going. So a lot of, let's say like companies that sell replicas are tied to like organized crime. And like some of these criminal organizations are people that are involved in like human trafficking and, you know, they murder people and stuff like that. So I think when people are like, we're paying less, it's reps. It's not like a victimless crime. I think people act like it's a victimless crime. I don't think people realize that, you know, you're literally funding criminal organizations. But, you know, that's a conversation for another day.
Entrepreneurship involves creating actual value, solving problems, and building something that didn't exist before. Whenever you buy something that already exists and just mark up the price, you're just a scalper. Resellers love to present themselves as these business-minded hustlers, talking about growing their empire. They show off their inventory like it's a portfolio. They talk about them like they're investments. But if you strip away all this fake branding and marketing, they're just buying shoes and selling them at a higher price. Real entrepreneurs take risks. They invest time, money, and effort into building something that actually provides value to others. And it's so frustrating seeing all of the dying businesses and resellers complain that no one can afford to buy their shoes anymore. They're making all of these pity posts on social media and acting entitled. I've seen resellers posting their sob stories about how they're struggling now, how they can't afford to pay their bills, how they don't know what to do anymore. And while I don't wish financial hardship on anybody, I feel like there's consequences that need to be addressed. If you built your entire income around a resale business model, you shouldn't act surprised whenever the bubble bursts. And this fake
100%, like, because I just don't understand. Maybe these younger kids just are not very bright. Because like when we were reselling, we all knew it's not like an actual job. Like it's not a career. It's not sustainable. Like the way that there were periods of like hype sneakers and then periods where things weren't hyped and then periods of like, you just know that's not sustainable. Like how can you rely on that for an income? You need something way more stable as a job if you're going to like actually have a career in something. That's really strange that like people don't know that, or that's just really weird to me. I don't know. Really odd. Really odd.
Entrepreneurship narrative has also done so much damage, especially to younger kids who looked at resellers and thought that it was a viable career path. These kids in high school and college started reselling thinking that they could quit their jobs and make a livable wage just by flipping shoes. And now those same kids are realizing how many years that they've wasted. They developed a...
Do you know what's wrong with the internet? So the problem with the internet is that there tends to be this whole like, there's a section of the internet where it's like, you don't have to be part of the rat race. Like, no, like people that are smart don't do 9 to 5s. Like, be an entrepreneur. And the problem with all that rhetoric is, even if you're a business owner or you're an influencer, whatever you want to do, it takes time and effort and research and work. Like, I've been on YouTube now for like 10 years. like 10 years. So you might look at me and be like, oh, it must be fun to just like make content and like for a living, which is funny because I don't even make content for a living. I'm a fashion consultant. A lot of people don't know that. I have a day job. I work in marketing in fashion, behind the scenes. So content doesn't actually pay my bills. Consultancy does. And I'm sure if I spent all the hours of the day make streaming, could I make a good living out of it? Probably. But once again, I've been making YouTube videos. I've been building an audience online for 10 years. So I don't like this whole idea that like people are so obsessed with get rich quick schemes. We're going to get rich quick. This is going to happen quickly. Don't be part of the rat race. Start a YouTube channel and you could be rich. It's like, no, it's probably going to take you like 5+ years to start seeing like sustainable income. Like, sorry to break it to you. That's just how it is. So that's just the problem I have with that mentality in general. Like people are like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job and be a reseller. It's like, no.
Skill set that is essentially worthless in every other industry. This is an insult to actual entrepreneurs. And it's insane how many of these resellers have now adopted the victim complex. They're out here acting like they're the ones who've been wrong, like they're the victims of some unfair market shift or some external force that they couldn't control. But it was all because of their own greed. Resellers are posting videos complaining about how the market is dead, how they're struggling to sell inventory, how nobody wants to buy for them anymore. They're just begging for sympathy on the internet. This whole victim mentality is absurd whenever you consider that the resellers actively contributed to killing the market themselves. They oversaturated the secondary market with inventory, and they never really cared about the actual consumers. And now they're taking on this identity of being small business owners, being crushed by massive corporations like it's something that they couldn't control. And the simple fact of it is, these resellers who quit their full-time jobs just to sell shoes have no legitimate skills. You can't add it on your resume that you flipped Yeezys for 3 years thinking that you're going to impress anyone. Resellers who are now being forced to get real jobs are discovering this the hard way. They spent years, or in some cases even more than a decade, doing something that provided them with zero transferable skills. I feel like if you put reselling on a resume, you'll literally just look like a joke to any average person who's not involved in the community. They could have been developing real skills, getting internships, or building actual work experience. You know, creating an actual foundation for a legitimate career. Instead, they spent that time flipping shoes, and now they're in their mid-20s with nothing to show for it except a closet full of dead stock sneakers. The reality is these sneaker resellers who quit their day jobs wasted years of their life on a scam. Rather than learning trades, developing a career, or building an actual business, they chose to be the middleman and scalp people for all of the money that they...
I mean, what I will say, I think this guy that I get that this video is angled in a way where it's just like, reselling is bad and I hate resellers. But like there are, yeah, kind of like what someone said, he sounds a little bit like he does. There are some positives to reselling. It's not all bad. It's like you do learn entrepreneurial skills. You can like, transfer them into something else. Like there are some business things that you learn. You learn about like shipping, how to ship to different places, how to not get scammed on PayPal, because that's a big thing. So you learn about like scam prevention very quickly. So many people that have resold have probably been scammed at least once, so you've learned the hard way. And that makes you more business savvy. You learn about inventory, you learn about customer relations. There's transferable skills for sure. It's not like completely wasted time.
They have. And now they're finally paying the price, and this is just awesome to see. But what's worse is that they still don't give up, and some resellers still haven't learned from all of the previous cycles that we've seen in hype. They're trying to pivot to other resale markets, still chasing after that unsustainable model and refusing to get real jobs. They're addicted to the idea of easy money, and it's just delusional. Stores that literally made millions of dollars a year in profit reselling shoes are going bankrupt. The only ones who are genuinely making it now are the the ones who are pivoting to other products like Pokemon cards. And I genuinely feel bad for all of the people who are in these other markets that are now being infiltrated by all of these sneaker resellers. Imagine being into Pokemon.
Yeah, Leo, you're right. Like, I think his examples are narrow. I understand the community within the community he is speaking about, but he is also fundamentally ignoring the larger reason some succeed and others fail. Agreed. Because, like, earlier there was someone that I was laughing that they invested 7K into Jordan 1s. But, like, the Jordans they invested in are, like, the lows that no... Like, if you're into sneakers... No sneakerhead likes those shoes. Like, that shape of Jordan 1s, like, in the sneaker community, like, you wouldn't be caught dead wearing those shoes. And that person bought 7K of them. So what that tells me is that's a reseller that doesn't do good research, or that's a reseller that doesn't have a good enough understanding of, like, the sneaker landscape. And so kind of like going back to what you're saying in this comment, yeah, he's ignoring some of the reasons why some succeed and some fail, essentially.
On cards for years before the hype. Then the hype explodes out of nowhere, and now you can't even walk into a store and buy a single pack for your kid. But at the end of the day, the sneaker resale market has shown us that it never should have existed in the first place. Resellers convinced themselves that they were entrepreneurs building legitimate businesses, but now they're finally having to go and apply for real jobs. The resellers who quit their jobs, maxed out their credit cards, took out loans, signed leases on their stores, and pretty much just gambled their entire finances on sneaker reselling now have to face reality and realize that the bubble has finally burst. The sneaker community is much better off with all of the resellers. Regular consumers who actually want to buy the shoes now can, and now we can see who is actually into sneakers for the fashion and the culture and the love of it versus the people who only cared about money. The culture can now rebuild itself from the ground up around genuine enthusiasts of sneakers rather than the profit. The releases that are happening now go to the people who actually care about wearing the shoes, not just flipping them. And I know it might sound hypocritical with this sneaker wall behind me, but I've been collecting sneakers for over 10 years since I was in middle school. I'm not gonna lie, I have been trying to downsize my collection a little bit recently, and as someone who's been directly involved within the sneaker culture before and after this big boom, I can say for certainty that this is good for everyone except the sneaker resellers. But regardless, I'm happy that everyone who just wants to get a pair of shoes for retail can just now walk into a store and get them without having to deal with all...
Not necessarily. There's still a lot of sneakers that are really, like, every couple of weeks there's a sneaker that's limited. Like, for example, good example, the Cortez Air Max 95s are still quite difficult to get. I'm not sure if you can make the argument that all of a sudden every sneaker that you could ever want you can just walk into a store and buy. I don't know about all of that.
All the extra bullshit. But let me know what you think. Have you ever resold anything before? I feel like there's a big difference between selling something here and there versus the people who make it their actual careers. And now we're seeing it with grown men scalpers who are doing the same with Pokemon cards. But luckily the market is crashing and the world is healing. And if you like content like this, feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel that are similar to this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, so he's made the comment. Let's see what Leo says. The issue is so many of these guys have no ability to curate product offering. That's the separating factor. Agreed. Because even, like, I wouldn't say I'm like super into sneakers now. Like, I'm into them, but I mean, I don't follow what's going on in the sneaker world. So I'm probably out of the loop. But even from my perspective, I was looking at some of these people in the video that were complaining that sneaker reselling is dead. And I was looking at what they're buying. And I'm like, you bought 300 cement threes. That's a terrible decision. Just like using common sense. It's like, what? Why would you buy those? Like, if I was a foot sneaker reseller now, there's things I would buy. Like, if I was a reseller, I would have bought, yeah, and Leo's saying it's just Nike, exactly. Because if I was a reseller, I would resell, like, when I was in Paris for Paris Fashion Week, I would have gone into the Chanel store and bought those Chanel heels that everyone is wearing, those pumps. And I definitely would have found customers to resell that to, and I would have made good money from that. Like, I would have just found interesting things. You just have to do your research. You can't just, like, buy 200 Panda Dunks. and try and resell. It's such a bad strategy. I just don't understand. And this is like, this is what I don't understand. People are so bad at their jobs, you know. Like, people quit their 9 to 5 to be resellers just to not even do good enough market research. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because also, even if you have the common stuff, you're offering a mix of other brands also allows you to ship off the common brands. Because a customer will come for one and buy another after trust is built. 100%. 100%. AI wouldn't tell you to do that. So are you trying to say that a lot of these people get their reselling strategy from AI? They type into ChatGPT, what's the best sneakers to buy? I'm a reseller. John said reselling designer clothes. I think it's more of like, I guess it's more of like a proxy than reselling. I'm not sure if you guys know what proxying is, but it's like a proxy is when you buy something for someone and then they pay you to basically shop on their behalf. So they tell you what they want to buy and then you charge them a fee for doing that. Maybe it's because like there's people I know personally. So like there's people that I can call right now and be like, what do you want from this Chanel drop? If you pay me $500 now, I'll line up for Chanel and I'll buy everything you want. Like literally, I know people that I could do that with. So I don't know. If you're going to make like reselling your full-time job, I just feel like you need to expand a bit. You need to know like good proxying that you can do, do more market research in terms of reselling, diversify the brands that you use and you get into and you resell. I don't know. People expect resellers to sell something exclusive and something rare. If they wanted to buy stuff like Panda Dunks, they'll simply wait until they get a restock from retail stores. Yeah, 100%. That's why I was like, it didn't make sense that people are buying like 100 Panda Dunks. Like, that's so stupid. It's so stupid. Also, someone earlier said that they think that Pokemon reselling is a gateway into gambling. And I totally agree. Because all that stuff is gambling. Like, you don't know where the market is going. You're not an executive at Nike. You don't know if Nike are planning a re-release of that, you know, pair of sneakers that you've been sitting on for 2 years to maximize your profit. You don't know if like 2 days from now, Nike is going to announce a re-release and then the value of your sneaker is going to plummet. That is literally gambling. It's literally gambling. People just mentally try to convince themselves otherwise. It is quite funny, to be honest. It's very funny. Leo says his Pokemon card example is so dry. Oh my gosh, that's funny. But also a huge thing, reselling goods that have manufactured scarcity, like Nike sneakers, you are running a race against manufacturers fixing the market. 100%. Just like I said earlier, once Nike started to see how massive the secondhand market was, they were like, well, our way of getting a slice of the pie is just to flood the market with more product. The only problem with Nike doing that, and I think this is why Nike is now struggling in terms of like they're losing so much market share all across the board, is because Nike is too overexposed, and so it's not as cool. It's hard for a brand to be cool when a brand is that overexposed. Like, there's not much storytelling when everyone has the same shoe. When everyone has the same Panda Dunk, you can't really do the level of storytelling that Nike used to do before. So that's the only problem with them flooding the market, I think. Shoe game is 100% better since the resale game died. Yeah. Agreed. To an extent, though, because some sneakers are really hard to get your hands on. So I think it just depends, to be very honest with you. I think it just depends. Yeah, it really depends. Reselling became scalping. It used to be selling something people normally wouldn't be able to get, like Capital, which is exclusively sold in Japan. Agreed. I think they decided to refocus on stopping reselling and are planning a massive turnaround in it. Culture. So I don't really, because once again, I'm based in the UK. So based on like the consultancy work I do, I know a lot of like behind the scenes information about like how much market share Nike is losing. I mean, Nike is a brand that I work with. But the level of market share that Nike has been losing, it can't be deliberate, basically is the point I'm making. Essentially. They've lost way too much market share for it to be deliberate. It's more to do with like, okay, so for example, a good example is one of the things that Nike did strategically was they reduced the amount of stockists that stocked Nike shoes because they wanted to sell more direct to consumer. But then what happened was their projections for their D2C sales the sales ended up not being as good as the projections. So then they were scrambling, and then they tried to like bring back these partnerships that they had with these retailers. And then those retailers responded by saying, well, when you guys withdrew all the product from our stores, we used that as an opportunity to open an account with On Running and with Hoka and with Salomon. And so now, because these sneakers are selling so well, there's absolutely no reason for us to reopen the Nike account when these other shoes are selling really well. So that's actually what has happened over time. So they just need to build trust with retailers and so many other things that they need to do. But that was like a big reason why Nike lost a lot of money and a lot of market share. It's out of their own decision from pulling stuff from stores, thinking that they could sell everything direct to consumers because they were being greedy, and then it backfired is basically what happened, at least to Nike specifically. So yeah, that was essentially the deal with that one. That was the deal with that. Anyway, next topic. Let me just get this off the screen. Okay, great. So next topic, we are talking about Kai Cenat, people. So a lot of you might not know, but I did Fashion Month. I just came back from Fashion Month. So I did London Fashion Week, then I did Milan Fashion Week, then I did Paris Fashion Week. Now, when I was in Milan, I was invited to the Gucci show, and I did have the chance to interview Kai Cenat. That video went super viral. It was on Complex. It was on Lil Jupiter. It was all over the internet. This is the interview. I'm going to play it after. I'm just giving you guys kind of like the background. So this was essentially after the Gucci show. This is still actually in the show space in Milan. And I met Kai Cenat. Now, some of you might remember that I made a video. Well, in a stream, someone asked me about Kai Cenat and what I think about his brand. And I essentially said, like, I don't really know, to be honest. The brand kind of looks like Kai Cenat kind of creating a brand that's inspired by brands that he wears, or brands that are, you know, popular amongst, let's say, Gen Zs. So like the Rick Owens and Chrome Hearts and all those kind of brands. So I was like, his brand hasn't necessarily been like super interesting, at least not from what I've seen. And then I also said I thought that that whole like journal thing was performative. So it's not performative to have a journal. I don't think it's performative to have a journal. But I think using a journal as like a tool to be photographed with, as like a marketing tool, is a bit performative, to be very honest. A lot of designers have journals. A lot of designers do sketches in their journal. That's not the issue. It's kind of like the optics of someone who clearly doesn't come from the fashion world and is trying to embed themselves in the fashion world. It just comes across as performative when you do stuff like that. So anyway, let me play this Kai Cenat video interview that I did in Milan after the Gucci show, and then I'll give you more context on this Kai Cenat situation. Demna's debut Gucci show, and I'm here with
Kai Cenat.
So, Kai, what did you think about the Gucci show? I think it was insane, but what did you think?
I'm speechless. I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of looks that I like. There's a lot of looks that I like. I'm just grateful to be here and take all in.
How do you think this helps? Obviously, as someone that's like working in fashion now, what's the context of this? What has kind of like inspired you? Speak on that.
Just learning how to tell a story on the runway, and appreciating, the clothes that are on the runway, down to the models, down to the walk, down to the looks.
Right.
I felt my soul felt some shit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm in there motherfucker like, damn. I'm thinking I'm in a museum, but man, it was good. But I don't know what it was. I was right here front row. I'm just grateful. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Demna is really, really important, I think, for the new generation in terms of designers and people influenced by fashion. What do you like about Demna as a designer, even back from his work at Balenciaga? What do you think about his work?
He take a lot of risk. He was the first person. He was the first person to introduce an experimental thing, in my opinion, during my childhood. That had my mom when I was young, like, what the fuck?
Right.
The triple S's and shit, like what he did at Balenciaga, like, it was amazing, and I loved it. Yeah.
Okay, so we just finished Demna's debut Gucci show, and I'm here with
Kai Cenat.
So first thing I will say, this interview let me know that Kai Cenat does get a lot of unnecessary hate. Like, it's unnecessary. So for example, at the end there, he said, I asked him like, what are his thoughts on like Demna's work? Because it was the Gucci show. And he was like, oh, Demna is like, he takes risk, which I agree with him. Kai's not wrong. He said that that one of the most experimental things that he's personally seen is like the triple S. And people are like attacking Kai, like, what does Kai know? That's not the only experimental thing that's happened in fashion. He only got into fashion a few years ago. My rebuttal to that would be that Kai literally said to me, he didn't say the most experimental thing in the world is XYZ. He said to me the most experimental thing. So that let me know that, oh damn, he really does like get a lot of unnecessary hate, to be fair. And it made me kind of like reflect on, Am I a hater? Not in terms of Kai Cenat, but just in general. I think with Kai Cenat, my assessment was very fair. But it just made me assess like, am I a hater when it comes to certain things? It just made me think about that. Also, when you watch the interview, like I'll play it from the start, just the start, so you guys can see. Okay, so we just finished Demna's debut Gucci show, and I'm here with
Kai Cenat.
So he was like giggling right at the start, and like my manager and I were really confused, like why he was giggling at the start of the interview. And then he actually sent me a DM and said that he's like seen my content. So then we were like, oh, he's probably seen the video where I said like what he was doing was performative, which I still doubled down on that. I literally doubled down on that, but I'll show you guys the DMs now. But I'm still doubling down on it. But it was interesting because that adds some like new context, some spicy context to the whole situation. So let me show you guys these screenshots. 1 second. I'll show you guys. Okay, cool. So these are the DMs between me and Kai Cenat. So after the interview, he had to like run, or he had to like do something basically. And so he was like, I'm sorry I didn't get to speak to you for too long. Just wanted to tell you that not a lot of people are committed like you are, bro. Good shit. So I was like, hey, no worries. I appreciate it. Also love the time and effort you're putting into fashion. Not going to lie, I was skeptic at first, but you won me over with how much time you're putting into this fashion shit. From linking up with Law Roach and Kid Super to learning about the production process. And then I put in brackets, not that my opinion matters. But I definitely think a lot of my contemporaries in fashion media believe in what you're doing and wish you the best. So that was after Kai Cenat. He has this YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you guys know. It's called Kai's Mind, right? And more recently, there have been videos that he's posted where he's like spending like a long time in like Italy learning about production and like all this other stuff. So I was like, oh, when I watched that channel, I was like, oh, he actually cares. Like he's not because what he was doing at first seemed very performative. But then when I'm like, oh, he's actually spent months in Italy learning about production and stuff. So he genuinely cares. Like he's actually putting in way more effort than I've ever seen from like a celebrity. Well, I know he said literally that he doesn't see himself as a celebrity, but I think he's a celebrity. He's like ultra famous. So I mean, like, he's ultra famous. I don't know how he can say he's not a celebrity, even though he said that. So in terms of like, you know, really famous people that start a brand, I think the level of care that he's put into it, I think is quite impressive. And I think it's commendable. And I think that he deserves like a level of respect for that. But reading on, he said, your opinion does matter. It's the next generation, bro. I watched your video and I saw you said you thought it wasn't genuine and performative. And I wanted to just share the process because I was excited. But I noticed you can't do that in 2026. I've been working on this since January of last year before anyone has known. So the thing is, that whole thing about him being performative, I don't think it's only me that said it. So when he was saying he saw my video and saw that like basically I said he was being performative, which is true. That is what I said. I think ASAP Rocky, there was a video of ASAP Rocky that also said that like what Kai is doing, maybe ASAP Rocky didn't specifically say performative, but I'm paraphrasing, but ASAP Rocky basically just said something along the lines of like, if you're trying to be taken seriously in fashion, like this is not the way to go about it. And that was kind of like the point I was making. I think the problem with like Kai Cenat's strategy is Kai Cenat is an exceptional streamer. Like he is the A tier, God tier level of streamer. And what the strategy that you use to become a good streamer is like hard work. You put in a lot of hours, you're personable, you're entertaining, you share your story, you document your life, you kind of bring your audience with you into everything you're doing. Fashion is like the opposite. Fashion, you kind of have to be mysterious. Because the problem with fashion is that if you the problem with fashion is if you document every tiny thing, it doesn't allow any mystique, and it also doesn't allow it also kind of, so to fashion people, so to people like me, if I see you watching a video learning about what LVMH is, which to me is like very rudimentary in terms of like fashion knowledge or fashion history, it doesn't come across as the kind of person that is just learning about what LVMH is probably not the kind of person that is going to create this like insane brand. That just becomes a perception. And like you need to understand that. So that's why someone like ASAP Rocky, someone like me, if I was to talk to Kai, or if I was to advise Kai about the way he goes about documenting, and I won't show you guys all the messages, but I even said when we were messaging back and forth that it's not really about documenting. That's not the issue. It's kind of like how you do it and the way you do it. Now, obviously, stuff like this is very natural to me because I'm already a consultant. So I do this for brands every day, all day. I like fundamentally understand how this works. What you want to document is the process in terms of like design. So basically, this is how I see it. Kai Cenat his perception is that he's a streamer trying to enter fashion. So anytime you document something, what should be at top of mind when you're documenting should be, how can I document things in the way that I overcome this perception of being a streamer that's trying to get into fashion, and how can I change that perception into being a fashion person? So my advice would be everything you do, you have to look at it through that lens. If you're a streamer and you're watching a video of like what is LVMH, that kind of confirms to a fashion audience that you're not a fashion person and that you're a streamer trying to get into fashion. That's what it confirms. If you're if you're with John Galliano in John Galliano's studio, it confirms to people, oh, he's with real designers learning about real fashion. So it's just what you're documenting. The issue is it's not that you can't document. It's kind of how you do it, and it's kind of the way you do it. And that's the difference. That's like the major difference that I think was not being understood. So when he said, I just wanted to share the process because I was excited, but I noticed you can't do that in 2026. It's not that you can't do it. That's not it. It's just the way you go about it, to be honest. And then the next one, just to read. Oh yeah, I was talking about the clip from a stream about me saying what he was doing was being performative. And then Kai said, I get it though, because celebrities often come into the game and money milk it and make bullshit with no time and effort. From noon to 4 a.m. I'm working hard. I'll try to show that more. And then he put, I'm not a celebrity. So that's commendable, first of all, because like I said, the reason why my mind has changed about Kai Cenat in general is because I've seen how much work he puts into it, and I've genuinely seen how seriously he takes it, and I've met him in person, so I like know. So I guess that's like the difference. But I think with Kai, regardless, Kai is so influential, especially for like a younger demographic, that I believe however this brand goes will definitely influence a big sector of, where fashion goes in the future. Like there's so many people that are like, I got into fashion because of Kanye West and A$AP Rocky. There'll be a whole generation of people that will be like, I got into fashion because of Kai Cenat and his brand Vivet. That's why I think what he's doing is very important. And that's why I like talking about it. And I think it's really important. And I'm like following the journey because I think it's going to be like really influential because of how influential he is as a person. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that. The fact that I did actually have a conversation with Kai Cenat about the brand. And just to reiterate that my mind has definitely changed about the way I perceive him or the way I, perceive his brand. I definitely perceive it in a better light. I definitely will I'll double down. I think he needs better advisors. Like, I'm just going to say it straight because I don't come onto the internet to lie to people. He needs better advisors in fashion. Like, the way he's going about his rollout could just be a billion times better. I don't know what fashion person he has in his corner. Whoever they are, they're not good enough. Straight up, point blank. They're not good enough. He needs better advisors. And that's why I like that he had the conversation with Luka Sabbat, and we're going to be watching that because I deliberately haven't watched it so I could react to it in real time. Luka Sabbat would be a good person for Kai to have in his corner because Luka Sabbat actually understands how the fashion system works from all angles. Luka Sabbat has worked with luxury brands. He's modeled for luxury brands. He's been in campaigns for luxury brands. He's been around the fashion industry for a really long time from all angles too, the streetwear side, the luxury fashion side. Luka Sabbat is actually a very good person. I don't know if Kai has access to A$AP. If he does, that would be another good person for Kai to, get information from. Law Roach, I know that Kai has met Law Roach already, but I think constant communication between Kai and Law Roach is definitely good. Law Roach is also someone that truly understands the way that the fashion system works. So I just think those people just need to be telling him how to go about it in a way that it's taken a lot more seriously. So yeah, I think that's really important. Leo says, yeah, I agree. Io, his team needs to reflect on the current pre-launch promotional strategy because currently he is being thrown in the fire by these methods. Agreed. Even if it's not a fashion person, the people on his team tasked with marketing are using very generic methods of engagement that are hitting walls that industry-specific marketing tactics wouldn't. Yeah, like people don't understand that like the fashion industry is so different to other industries. Like a lot of celebrities also don't understand how big. Let me give you an example just to kind of add, because Kai Cenat might watch this video. Who knows? So I actually want to give, because I'm actually a fan of Kai Cenat. Like I stream, so of course I'm a fan of Kai. Like Kai is literally the upper echelon of streamers. So I used to watch his streams just to learn about, even though we talk about completely different things, just to learn about like streaming strategies. So I genuinely want him to do well. Like I even said, even in the initial video where I said what he was doing, I felt like it was performative. I literally at the end said, I still want him to do well though. Like I'm not wishing bad. So the thing is, it's just, yeah, there's just a different way to do it. A lot of people don't understand how big fashion is. So one service that like Micah, my manager, and I provide is we work with a lot of like big musicians and we help them kind of navigate Paris Fashion Week. So we introduce them to the PR companies. We get them into a lot of different fashion shows. These are like high profile musicians, like singers, rappers, entertainers, those kind of people. We get them into fashion shows. We introduce them to designers, whatever. Some of these people, maybe because in the music industry, they're like well-known or they're big. So they're used to being able to call the shot. So they tell us things like, we aren't coming to Paris Fashion Week unless we get into XYZ show. And my response is always, well, I'm not going to lie, the way that you dress, no one would associate you with that brand. So it's very unlikely that XYZ brand is going to, invite you as a VIP because you're not part of their community. Like, it doesn't matter how famous you are. There's more famous people that are going to be VIPs at that show. And those people find it so hard to understand because maybe in music, everything they ask for, they probably get. But like in fashion, the front row is going to be like Kim Kardashian and like Paris Hilton and like A-list celebrities that are way more famous than these musicians that have big egos. So I always tell them that unless you dress in that way that makes sense for the brand to like court you, or you're like known as a fashion person, or they're gaining something out of it, there's literally no reason for them to have you at the show, and that's why they'll say no. And it's so hard for them to understand. So a lot of like people that are famous in different industries, they just don't get it. It's like these brands make 25 billion euros a year. They don't care. Like, you are literally irrelevant to them. Just because you're famous, they don't care. Like, they make 25 billion euros a year. They don't care. They just did a campaign with like Beyonce. They just did a campaign with Louis Vuitton. Pharrell's Louis Vuitton just did a campaign with Rihanna. These are like A-listers. They do not care about you. And it's so hard for people to get that into their head. So like a lot of, going back to this Kai Cenat thing, right? It might be very difficult for his team. I don't know who's advising him because his team are obviously very good at what they do. Kai is only as successful as he is because of him, of course, but his team. But fashion is just a different ball game. It's a different beast. It's completely different industry to any other industry they've probably ever had to navigate. Now, in the fashion industry, they don't care. Like, the fashion industry don't care that Kai Cenat is famous. They don't care how influential he is. They don't care how famous he is. They don't care about his audience. They just don't care. Fashion people are like, okay, how good are you as a designer? Okay, let's see your designs. Okay, what do you know about fashion history? Okay, do you know about fashion in the 80s? Do you know about anti-fashion in the 90s? Do you know about the famous couturiers? Do you know about Paul Poiret? And do you know about Madeleine Vianney? And do you know about Christian Dior? Do you know why Christian Dior is famous? Do you know what he's famous for? Do you know about Cristobal Balenciaga? Do you know why they call him the master of us all? Do you know about different, fashion systems in different countries? Do you know about Savile Row? Do you know why Savile Row is so important to tailoring? Like that's how the fashion industry works. And if you don't know any of these things, you're just not taken seriously. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how famous you are. Because however much money you have, these brands have more money. The fashion industry people have more money than you. So that's why they don't care. And it's so hard for people to like get that into their head. It's like really hard for people to understand that. And that's where the issue happens every time. So that's why I say that Kai needs like fashion specific advisors, like people in fashion that he can talk to. And if Kai Cenat, if you're watching this, send me a DM, whatever question you have, I'm always going to answer it. I don't need money or whatever. I don't really care about stuff like that. I genuinely want to see you do well, but I just think that, you know, there's just like better advice that needs to be given. That's basically what I think. But isn't it numbers in the end? If Kai sells enough, he will get taken seriously. Not really, because like, so the thing about fashion is that in fashion, there are these very specific gatekeepers. You can't really exist outside of the system. I don't really know any designer that completely exists outside of the system. Like, can you guys mention like a designer that's like really successful that is completely outside of the system? Eventually, you're gonna have to like, there's people in the industry will have to take you seriously enough. Otherwise, you might not get favorable rates in terms of production. Or, okay, I'll give you an example of like why the industry needs to take you seriously. So a good example is like a lot of the big brands, they have leeway with a lot of factories worldwide because they have the big contracts with factories. Now, a lot of these brands can literally start telling factories that we are the only people that are going to use XYZ leathers, XYZ cottons, XYZ, you know, wools. No one else is allowed to use it. Apart from maybe this brand because we just like them. So we're going to let them use it. Now, these factories financially cannot afford to not do what these big brands say. So if you're Mr. Independent and you want to use this factory and then the factory is like, well, you want to use that fabric, we can't use it because that fabric is only exclusive to XYZ brand. And then you now have to start like courting your way into the system to use certain fabrics. You have to court your way into the system to get more favorable rates. From a manufacturing standpoint, you have to court the system to, you know, be in the schedule of Paris Fashion Week or Milan Fashion Week. You have to start courting the system to be taken seriously by PR companies so that you can sign them so that you can be represented by the likes of Lucien Pagès or Carla Otto or KCD or those kind of... So that's the thing. It's not as like... People think you can just exist outside the system. You can't really. That's not really how it works. Jerry Lorenzo is extremely not outside of the system. Jerry Lorenzo is not outside of the system at all. Like, not even close. Jay Lorenzo is very much deep in the system. Yeah. Leo says it's also especially nuanced for him because his strategy needs to allow for him to grow past being considered just a streamer, and his brand can be allowed to be perceived through the fashion lens. 100%. So one thing I think that would help Kai Cenat is if Kai Cenat talked about very technical things that he's been learning. Because I'm so sure him spending all that time in Italy, all the people he's met, he's probably learned some very technical things. I think him telling his audience about these extremely technical things would be like really positive in terms of like how people perceive him as a streamer and stuff like that. So I think that's something that would definitely be like a net positive in terms of perception, rather than the more simple stuff that he tends to talk about when he talks about like documenting his fashion journey. I mean, it's not like he's learning how to drape, then construct, the mass production appropriate methods that we know of. See? So this is exactly what I mean. So if I was his team, if there's ever a class where Kai Cenat is learning how to do pattern making, I would want to document the first pattern that Kai Cenat makes and kind of Kai Cenat talking through why his pattern is that way. Because that is like his audience are going to learn a lot from it, and the fashion people are going to be like, oh, like it's not performative, it's not just a video. He's actually telling us and rationalizing why his pattern is that way and why he's measured it that way, because he's trying to account for the waist or, you know, the leg. So that's the thing. It's just the way you do it. Maybe because I'm a consultant, I just think that way. It's just the way you do it. It's just the way you do it. It really isn't like rocket science. It really isn't rocket science. But anyway, let's go into something I wanted to talk about quickly, because people have been talking about Kai Cenat having a hate wall, which I find very interesting. I'm not sure how many of you guys are aware of this, but Kai Cenat basically in the video has a wall of just like haters that he uses for motivation. And he talked about it in a video. So we're going to watch that, and then after we're going to look at the Luka Sabbat interview.
So we are currently designing in Italy, 600-year-old villa where everything is a little bit older. But I want to show you guys the power to embrace hate. Embracing hate, you guys have found ways to weaponize it. And I used to struggle with like caring about what people thought. So.
Oh, copyright. Not the Travis Scott. But yeah, this is just him talking about like the hate that he receives that's on the wall to motivate him even more. Now, I don't know. So the problem with this is like, unless the hate is coming from people that like matter, the problem with the internet is like, you can't really take what people say on the internet seriously. Because like, okay, for example, people know that I'm a consultant in the fashion industry. I go to fashion weeks. I go to Paris Fashion Week. I go to Milan. I go to like I'm very much deep into the fashion industry. And then on the internet, there are people like, some people literally argue with me about like brands that I'm literally in the boardroom. That's just the way the internet is. So you can't really, a lot of times you have to take the internet with a grain of salt, because most people that like hate are the kind of people that like don't leave their room. Like most people that are commenting, especially like really hateful things about like Kai Cenat, these people have probably never done anything in fashion ever. So I just don't think it's useful for Kai Cenat to like really think about or care about any of this hate, unless it's coming from like people that are really influential in fashion, then maybe. But if it's just like some random people on like, you don't even know like who they are or where they are. Like the amount of people that have argued with me about really silly things, where in my mind, I'm just thinking, we literally did the strategy for this with Nike yesterday. And this person's arguing with me about it. Like, this is insane. So I just think, I don't know, like the hate war thing, I don't think it's useful personally. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. But I thought it was interesting because a lot of people talk about the hate war. So it's very interesting. I really want to know what do you guys think about the hate war? I mean, make a goal list of shortcomings to overcome, sure, but a hate wall. Here's the thing though, if he only used to struggle with carrying what other people think, then he wouldn't have a literal wall of their criticisms printed out. Agreed. Even if it was from notable people, maybe a wall of criticism, but that just encourages more hate. Yeah, let's see. Interesting. Let's see. This shit's so corny, bro. On the wall. When this itself is corny. Nothing wrong with being sensitive and being motivated by hate, though. But that's the thing, like, that person that said, oh, this shit corny, bro. Like, who are they? We don't even know who they are. Like, it's just some random person on the internet. We genuinely don't. This person could just be some, like, random person rotting away in their basement. Like, we genuinely have not seen these people in the flesh. That's why I just don't think you should, like, put too much energy on comments like that, to be honest. I just don't think a lot of energy should go into that. Personally, that's what I would say. But anyway, all of that to say, let's watch the conversation he had with Luka Sabbat. I've actually been looking forward to watching this because, like I was telling you guys, I deliberately haven't watched this because I wanted to react to it firsthand. And I heard this conversation was really good. And like I said, Luka Sabbat is someone that is actually like very deeply involved in the fashion industry. So I think in terms of Kai Cenat growing and having like, you know, progressing in his fashion journey, I think that, I just think that this is a good person for him to talk to. But let's listen.
I went into it already thinking like, bro, people not gonna take me serious. I'm a fucking streamer.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I'm like, I already know they're gonna box me in. You feel what I'm saying? And into a lot of shit. So I just kept writing down and like just writing a whole bunch of shit down, like as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
You feel me? As transparent as possible, and just breaking it down for what it is, and take a picture of the people that was there and all that, and just, bro, this is like literally
This is Lorenzo.
Yeah.
He's been part of the process.
Yes. He's the one that designed this cover.
Nice.
Like I really went in depth.
Well,
like,
working out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Staying fit.
Yeah.
That's definitely part of the
Bro,
journey.
yeah, but then you see like also, I look at designers too. Like when they go through shit health wise, and I'm like, fuck, like I gotta go into this because I know how much time that shit is. Like let me at least.
Yep, Kai Cenat is. Yo, someone tell Kai Cenat to watch Kingdom of Dreams, the TV series, because if he watches it, I'm sure he knows like the likes of like what happened to Marc Jacobs and John Galliano and Alexander McQueen and how, you know, fashion affected their mental health. So it is good that he's considering his mental health and like how things affect him mentally. That's definitely a good way to come into things thinking about, you know, working in fashion.
Put the gym and tell you how important it is to take care of your health.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, your health is everything, bro. Like, you want to wake up and, like, feel good.
Yeah.
That, like, helps you design. It helps you think. Like, when I'm, like, hungover or in a, like, you know, if you're, like, when you're unhealthy, it's not just, like, your body. It's your brain. And that, like, can fog up your, like, thought process. And, like, another thing, you know, I mean, I'm sure you've already experienced this. A brand is, these are cool. Are these real skins?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I scan everything so like it's on the website so
Yeah.
people could just read it. But also I wanted to come included in the packaging of like the clothes so they could see it with their own books.
This is an important point when I was talking about Luka about it. It's like the experience of the client. I feel none of these. There is no fucking
Experience. You gotta think of it from the buyer's point of view.
I want to play the game. I want to have the experience of a client, and the whole experience is just be treated as shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want this to be like, this is journal 1.
Yeah.
Like the next collection will be journal 2.
Yeah.
So it's 2 different journals. Like it comes down to the color of how I'm feeling. Like it's really good. Like if I have a collaboration with a brand, like that person has to be there with me, you know? And shit like that.
But this can make different. The experience that you make your
and I'm going all in too. I feel like it's cool.
I mean, that's like how your consumer interacts with the product.
Yes. Cause you know when we younger, bro, we get Louis, Gucci and shit.
Yep, Kai Cenat's his brain is in the right place. He's thinking about the right things, like thinking about the customer experience, you know, journaling about that, and kind of like how, like really deeply considering what is going to be like and how he envisions the customer experience for his customers to be. His mind is in the right place. Someone asking, so the journal is basically show notes. Yeah, in a way, because he's saying that each collection will be like a journal. So journal 1, collection 1. That's a cool idea. That's actually a really cool idea. it would be such a good idea if like if something I think would be really good marketing is if he sells the journals. So after he finishes his first collection, if that first journal is available for sale, or even if he doesn't want to like make money off it just for marketing, he opens a website, kind of like what Virgil Abloh did with Canary Yellow, where Virgil Abloh had those show notes that are like 100 pages long, where Kai Cenat just has scans of every page of his journal, and all his fans can like read deeply into it with like explanations on like everything and how he rationalizes everything. And then, you know, that kind of his fans getting deep into it and kind of reading deep into it. So by the time the collection comes, they understand the collection so deeply, they feel like they have like a deep emotional connection to the clothing. I think that's a really good idea, personally. Vivet.pdf, facts. This is good as long as he has someone on his team to handle / fit what he is wanting and execution. Agreed. Because he should not be doing the entirety of it on his own. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, Kai Cenat is not going to be a sensational designer within 1 year. Like, these things take time. But so long as he's working with the right people and he's constantly seeing it as a learning experience, I don't see why he can't become a good designer over time if he continues to put the work in. Because I think he definitely has like the resources for sure. I feel like there is an audience mismatch. How many of his fans care that deeply about fashion explanations? Then people are like 11 years. I don't think all his fans are like 11 years old. And it's up to Kai Cenat to like, because that's the whole point of him being influential and people really listening, like his fans listening to what he says. If he communicates to them why it's important for them to read it, then they'll read it. It's just how he goes about it.
You hang it up on a wall, like you gotta think like that, cause like obviously like I've lived my life and I got so much money to where like I don't even be caring about the bags. We gotta ground yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, there's people out there who's living in their crib and shit who really value the bags, the dust bags, the germ. You know what I'm saying?
That shit counts.
Yeah,
And
everything
even,
counts.
Like, you know, I don't give a fuck about the the box or the bag, but like I keep it just in case. But that shit matters. As a product designer myself now, like
you look at everything as knowledge.
I have garment bags.
Right.
I'm selling jackets. You know, I mean, I'm still learning too, by the way. You know, but like my first collection, I didn't make nice garment. I didn't even think that far. I was so into like, fuck, I need this perfect.
You see what Luka Sabbat said? That's really important. Luka has been in fashion for so long, and Luka's saying, I'm still learning too. You never ever stop learning. I'm still learning. Like, no one stops learning. John Galliano is still learning. Like, everyone's still learning.
Hardware and the leather and the lining. And I'm like, wait a minute. This jacket's $7,000 and I don't have a fucking bag. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm tripping, bro. Season 2, garment bags, shirt bags. When you buy from the website, what box does it come in? Is it easy to open? Like, the font on the receipt, like everything's got to be dialed.
This is also like, this is the Coming Soon website, because I looked at a lot of Coming Soon websites, and a lot of them, like, I just see it's like, it just literally says Coming Soon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I want to put the journal in there.
Yeah.
And I want people to read this. Like, this is like
that is cool.
And I also have left out certain pages to where when you get the clothes, you'll see unlockable pages that you've never seen before. You know?
The journey being a part of it is cool.
Yeah.
I want to read this. The first prototype of the first bag was seen today, and it was pretty good, really well done. I was surprised on how good the prototype looked, but
My bad, my handwriting, bro.
There is far more improvements to be made at the moment. I want to try to find a way where it does not feel like a Birkin from Hermes. Understand that that's right. I understand.
And like, do you see why I read though? Like, I put but it's genuine though. Like, I'm writing the wrong there, bro. Like,
I respect that note.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I respect that note.
Agreed. I just checked because he said like his Coming Soon page, he wanted it to be more interesting. So I said, let me go on like the Vivet website and see what it's like. So he actually does have the journal, like pages of the journal on the website, which is actually really cool. So like his fans can come in here and actually learn about what he's learning about. Now, my thing though would be, this isn't enough space to really explain everything that you need to explain. So how I would do it is, after the journal, there's like different things that you can click into that add even more explanations and more rationalizations into, you know, kind of all his ideas and kind of what he's doing. But this is definitely a good start. Definitely. Where people can just keep getting deeper and deeper into it while they wait for the clothing to drop. Good idea. Great idea. Great idea.
I gotta get better as long as the journal like improves handwriting and shit, like pronunciation, grammar.
But it's still authentic. It's you.
Yeah. It's me. Yeah.
The guy behind the scene.
Yeah, and then you're just only gonna get better in it the more you document it. Like,
yeah.
And it's cool. Like, your customer is gonna grow with you. That's another thing. Like, the people that were season 1, like, they're there for season 2. And there's new people that are coming in. Like, once you start getting your consumer base and those people, they want to feel like they're a part of something. That's the best part about investing in a new brand. And you want to, like, it's good when your customer grows with you, you know, because those are loyal customers. Like,
Right here I wrote, I said, I purposely let time pass to get a wide variety of experience. And as I am traveling and working from city to city, there's a lot of emotion going on within myself. I am human, and a lot of times my head is thinking of a lot of things at once. It's been a full month now since I have streamed, and I'm not going to lie, I miss it dearly. I miss my community, and I miss just doing the content that I really love. I've been in Italy for a month, and I am missing home dearly. It's crazy because I have never missed New York so much in my life. Until now, I think I miss New York so much because of the way Europe is set up, the streets, the roads, the fashion, the amount of people, etc. Additionally, I really miss making content. But one thing that I've learned in my life is that timing is everything. I felt like I gave so much energy in my craft of streaming and felt as if I can execute this vision with clothes properly. I would have to take time and put it into this new craft of mine. By being away for a long time, I know people would appreciate my clothes more and take it seriously, which I really want to.
Yeah.
Like, it's that level, you know?
Yeah. Note to self type shit, and it's good. What is this, a cobbler?
That's when I first see my shoes. Yeah, shoes get made.
So are you starting with shoes?
I'm
starting with accessories?
So that's the whole point. It's like, I don't want to be boxed into anything. Like, the season, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna just drop it if I feel like it's cool. Anything. So
I understand to like not be put in a box thing, but it's also good to be. You have to be specific.
Okay. That's great. That's great. That's great advice. Oh my, that is good advice. Because like, the thing is, don't want to put it in a box, whatever. The thing is that every brand has one thing that makes them money. And every brand has one thing that they're known for. Not that those designers are being put in a box, but you do have to be specific, and there has to be things that like you hone in on that completely works for the brand. Because the problem with doing random stuff all the time is that you don't build a cohesive and long-term customer base. If you're trying to build like a long-term customer base, if customers come to you for a specific thing and they constantly come to you for a specific thing, if you stop doing that, then you're trying to attract a whole new customer base. That's what happened with Gucci. That's why Gucci's having an issue. For years and years and years, people went to Gucci for maximalism under Alessandro Michele. They hired Sabato De Sano, who is the complete opposite direction. Doesn't work.
Rick, Eddie, you'll put Eddie Slimane in any fashion houses of this world, it will still be
Eddie Slimane. Like, you have to have codes that are strong to you. Like, I understand the vision is very broad, but you have to understand the consumer isn't in your brain, and the consumer, it's sometimes you have to, it's just a fucked up way to think, but it helps you create in a way that like people can consume it. Is that like,
everybody don't think the same.
Yeah.
So you gotta walk them through like a little kid.
Luka Sabbat is cooking. He said, Eddie Simon, wherever he goes, he's still gonna do Eddie. That's the thing. You have to have like a signature look. You have to have like a signature aesthetic. You have to have like certain codes as a designer that you're known for, a certain aesthetic, certain silhouette. So I understand what Kai means, like not being put in a box. I think him using phrases like that is because people have put him in a box of being a streamer. So he's always going to look at things through that lens of, I don't want to be put in a box. But there are some certain situations or circumstances where it's actually beneficial to be put in a box, to be honest.
Bro, like
That's why you have to be super specific and come with something, and then you can like broaden the horizon. But you have to come in with a very concise idea and like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like it has. That's the only way. I'm telling you, man. That's how all the greats did it. Margiela, when he started, his point of view was repurposing shit, like things that people look at all these clothes as trash. And like, I'm gonna remake them into high fashion. Hedy Slimane was like rock and roll, skinny, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Chrome Hearts, they started with just they started with bikinis, I think, and then it went into jewelry. But you don't want to be like a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like you.
Woo! Luka is dropping gems. Whoa. Whoa, slow down, Luka. Luka is like cooking right now. Luka is actually cooking.
You want to like it's the really like quantity over quality. I mean, sorry,
quality over quantity.
Like if you have like if your first presentation was 5 full looks, right? A look would consist of pants, shoes, shirt, it could be layered, and the video, this is just like an example, could be at base is just like it's 5 different people getting ready, putting each piece on, and that is the stream, and they're in the house, whatever the case may be. But those 5 looks you have, right, they're the most dialed things. They're the best product. Like, fuck showing them everything. You can't show them everything. You got to just come specific. These are my 5 looks. These are my 3 silhouettes. Every piece is pain. The moment you give people too much shit, it's like they don't know what to focus on. They're gonna find something to shit on. If you give them 5 things that are just your
crazy,
fucking
heroes,
5 looks, that's still a lot of clothing, bro. That's 5 pairs of pants. That might be 4.
Luka is cooking. Also, the problem with focusing on too many things at once is it's too expensive. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize, unless like you work on the back end of fashion or you've had a brand, sampling is so expensive, especially if you're like a perfectionist and like you really want, like, you're making these boots and you envisioned it a certain level of quality in your head and you keep sampling till you get that perfect pair of shoes. It's going to cost you so much money. So people that are all over the place and like, you know, don't, you know, like designs, it costs brands too much money. Even designers, I'm not going to mention names, but there are big designers at big houses where when I'm doing consultancy with these brands, some of the executives are literally complaining about these creative directors because these creative directors, they sample too much. And the creative directors and the executives are like, this creative director is really wasteful of money because they sample so much stuff that they never use. So for someone like Kai that doesn't even have the resources of like the LVMH brands or the Kering brands, and these people are complaining like this designer sampled 120 things and only 40 things made it to the collection. It's wasteful. So he can't afford to be, you know, all over the place.
Different jackets, you know what I'm saying? 5 different shoes. Like, it took me 2 years for my first collection. That shit was 47 pieces and 23 looks. Like, and you know, but when that shit dropped, that shit was pain. It was like 23 shits of just, and I had to like dial it back. I cut mad shit, all pain. You have to like come in it like that, where it's like, if you do 10 looks, make sure it's like your best fucking shit. Like, don't even give him too much, bro. Just give him your best. You get what I'm trying to say? And then part of the documentation is you can still show them that later. Present your best, right? And then it's like, dropped the fucking uncut lookbook of all the looks that didn't make it. Those can still be part of the future of your brand. You can still work on them and like, okay, maybe it's not in drop 1. I haven't mastered it yet, right?
Right.
Season 2. So the people that are like, oh shit, they go look at season 2 and you're like, I saw that in the uncut lookbook of season 1. So they can tell you're still working on the stuff. The ideas are there, but you're just presenting your best. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be ideal, and I think it would be super strong. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's fuck it, it's your life. But
no, I feel that though.
I want to like
that though. Okay.
I truly like, yeah.
But I do realize though, like the presentation thing, if you present your best, whether it's whatever it is, because you're just starting.
Because also, if you sell a lot of stuff and it's a lot of product, like
yeah, it is.
When it's sold out. Like if you only have 5 looks,
shirts or some shit,
you got 5. You got, let's say you have 5 pants, 5 jackets, 8 shirts.
It's a lot.
4 hoodies. That's a lot of shit already. So
Yeah.
now, if you give them too many looks, like you want that shit to just say sold out.
They want that shit. They want the shit. They want to be able to see the shit, and then like if I did tease something else, like oh my, what the fuck is that? Like I need that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Low Roach has to do the same thing too.
Yeah.
And the beauty of marketing and promotion.
It's amazing. I could control it too. Yeah.
Promotion. It's like, look, what Cardi have been doing, not talking for like years, and like he's fan because they fuck with him and they were waiting for him, with just making the noise for himself.
Exactly.
Like Hermes, they don't got promote, they don't got.
You've
no
never seen a Hermes ad, by the way.
Like there's no Hermes ad when you go on the Hermes website with like on the Instagram.
The Hermes ad is when you go.
So okay, I'm gonna come out on a limb and say Hermes is a terrible example. I don't even think Hermes should have been mentioned because Hermes is only able to have a marketing strategy of like not marketing basically because it's such an old brand that has been worn by literal royalty, and royalty has told other royalty about Hermes over the years, and so it's just at a point where in rich circles they all talk about Hermes. As a new brand, you don't have the luxury of that kind of you have to market. You cannot be the silent brand. Like it's just in 2026, if you're starting a brand, Hermes marketing is literally irrelevant to you. It should just be irrelevant. I don't think that's realistic or even like a useful example in this kind of conversation to bring up, to be honest. I get what they're trying to say, but it's a bad example.
And you see motherfuckers
with Birkin, and those are the ads that will be timeless. Rick Owens do not push any ads or any.
Rick Owens doesn't do campaigns.
No campaign.
They have no marketing.
This is how you.
Yeah, it's the first one I see with Montclair.
Yeah. The only marketing they did is Montclair, and that's Montclair marketing. They don't got that shit at the Rick Owens, like.
This is where you stay in the time.
And it's like.
When you push marketing too much.
Just trust it. Just trust my business.
Wait.
The whole Rick Owens doesn't do marketing. I don't know about that. Rick Owens spends millions on runway shows. Rick Owens spends insane amounts of money on PR. Rick Owens definitely does marketing. I don't know how you could say that Rick Owens doesn't do marketing. That's actually factually incorrect.
Shit, you know, I mean, you just gotta push that shit with all you have, cause you're your best billboard. You know, and you're so blessed to have.
Yeah. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
You're
and definitely use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Like,
in fact, just to double down on the Rick Owens point, Rick Owens does so much marketing that like Rick Owens and Michelle Lamy are ambassadors, plus other people like Tyrone and like so many other people are literally ambassadors of the brand. So part of the marketing of Rick Owens is just Rick always being seen wearing different Rick pieces. That's literally part of the marketing. The only brand that you can say doesn't do marketing is Hermes. Like, but Rick not doing marketing, yeah, I don't know about all of that.
you have all the eyes on you. You got the OGs and then the YNs and the kids of the OGs and the, you know?
I'm blessed to even have everybody talking about this shit right now.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been, like, even at these events, I've never had these many cameras on me.
It's a lot, no?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, I like had to take a little step back. I was getting a bit overwhelmed at some point. I just be like, it's good though. Like you just came into this shit, so like you gotta do the rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Facts.
yeah,
Facts. I gotta go through. It's all storytelling too.
yeah, and it's like it's a whole new world, man. You know, Paris, Italy. Where were you in Italy?
Oh fuck, where was we at? Ancona.
Okay, copy.
I
I
always
some
forget
great
that shit.
tattoos. I make all my shit in Italy
Yeah.
as well. You want everything. I don't know what the price point for this stuff is, but you want it to feel really. You want everybody to feel special. LV, you know, all those shows are cool. Like, okay, cool, clothing, but you know, they really just crank bags. Like,
Yeah,
like
luggage.
you know, LVMH and I mean, all.
Yep, Luka is correct. A lot of those luxury brands, the runway shows is just marketing. The ready-to-wear collection is just marketing. All of that is just marketing. Really, what they are trying to sell you is perfume and bags. That's actually what they want to sell you, and that's what makes the most money ultimately.
Even YSL.
But it's important to say that the world building, without the world building that comes from the ready-to-wear collections and the designers and the shows and the campaigns, they wouldn't be able to sell as many bags and perfumes as they do, because no one would be interested and people wouldn't feel like it's an aspirational product to buy like Louis Vuitton perfume or Louis Vuitton bag. So that must be mentioned.
Like, all the clothes are sick with YSL, but it's like
they're here for the bags, yeah.
And like the accessories business is definitely a very lucrative business because everybody always wants a bag, and you can wear it a lot, and you know, it's not limited to like boys and girls kind of understand.
Yeah, also another thing about bags, I'm not sure if Luca is going to mention it, is it's not limited by size also. So a lot of luxury clothing, maybe if you're like too tall, you can't wear it because none of it fits. Or you're too small, you can't wear it. Or you're too big, you can't wear it. So bags, accessories in general are extremely size inclusive, gender inclusive, like all those things. So that's the one thing about bags. Like, if you make a bag, anyone can wear it. It's less likely you're going to lose money on like certain sizes and all that sort, because that's always a problem. Like when you make a full size run of like footwear or clothing, there's always that one or two pair of sizes that just doesn't sell as well as the others. Whereas like you don't have that issue with accessories.
Yeah.
It's like,
She just hit me today. She's like, look, Steve, don't pay attention to the internet right now.
is your mom?
Yeah.
That's sweet. Then that's your twin.
Yeah.
That's fire. Where is she from?
Trinidad.
Fire. I mean, we're having this conversation that like, no, once you understand the best designer, I mean, there's amazing creative directors, but there's a reason why people like John Galliano or Alexander McQueen or Vivian Westwood were amazing at making clothes, is that they knew how to not just sew, they knew how to make patterns. So the way that they process.
Yep. Tell him, Luca. You have to tell him.
Making clothes, they could actually understand how it's physically put together, like. And when you understand how to actually make a garment from scratch,
You appreciate that bitch crazy.
not even just appreciate the way your brain thinks
See
about
through.
making garments, you
Yeah.
can really start pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
of like how things are constructed. You know, Issei Miyake's great at that too. Like,
Yep, that's why Alexander McQueen says you have to learn the rules before you break the rules.
with the pleats and the like, you can really start playing with that stuff. It's fun. Is this when you went to
Yeah, he had drew this shit.
Damn, that's fire.
I mean, shit.
My best analogy for like being a fashion designer and like why if you're going to design clothing, it's always better. Like you don't have to, and people always try to argue like you don't need to be able to sew to be a designer. Cool, but I think being able to sew and being able to make patterns will always make you a better designer than if you can't. Because the thing about being able to do those things is it changes the way you think. Like, think about like when people invent new technologies, like people that are good at coding, The reason why they are able to invent that new technology is because they understand coding so fundamentally that they start to then think outside the box. Like, maybe if we do this with this, I could try this with this. You will never get there if you just don't know how to do coding in the first place. So it's the same thing with fashion design. Like, if you don't know how to make your own patterns, how to like sew, your designs are always going to be limited into the confines of the factory you use or the designers that work under you. It's always going to be limited within those confines. Whereas if you knew how to do that, you could expand your understanding a lot further. So that's why it's always encouraged that you actually learn how to construct garments if you're going to start a brand.
He's the best, man.
He is, bro. Like,
Richard's really like.
oh my gosh, it's like I want to be like that when I'm his age. The world like comes to him.
Yeah.
Like he make the world. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like he created his world, and Lori created their world, and like you're stepping into like their world, and it's Chrome Heart. That's what I'm saying. Chrome Hearts is very specific. It's now they make a lot of stuff, right? Like jeans, bags, jackets, scarves. But it started from a very specific point of view and a very specific design language.
And it branched out.
And then it branched out.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to communicate to you. It's like, just come with something very specific and then branch out to the rest. But if you come with a very specific point of view and people understand it, then you'll be able to grow into all the fucking things. All the things in all the boxes. But like, just think about all the greats. There's a reason why they're great. Is that they figured out what they're great at and then they grew with that. Yeah. But like they came with a very specific point of view. And that's just like, that's the most important part. The ethos, the world of your brand is everything. And like,
agreed.
What is it you want to communicate? What is your point of view? And what are you trying to say? And how do you want your consumer to feel when they're wearing the brand? You know? That's like the most important shit in the world.
And these are the brands more consistent. Like all the brands that base themselves on real, like Hermes, on real like saddle leather or like making. Leather.
Yo, who's this guy in the background? He just always mentions Hermes. Like there's other brands than Hermes. Like, because I just don't think Hermes is ever going to be a good example in the context of like trying to give Kai Cenat advice on how brands should operate. I think it's the worst example. So this guy keeps mentioning Hermes.
For cars, and develop into this whole.
Like they make fucking like shit for horses. Like, it's all about like craftsmanship. That's like the entire ethos of that brand. And then like you got Rick Owens, which has this like dark aesthetic, but it's like rooted in all these things that Rick Owens are into, which is like these subcultures like music, whether it's like hard techno or whatever. But that's his shit. He made his shit popular, and like Demna has this almost satirical world view where he's like making fun of the world in a way where his product is still cool, but it's like social commentary, you know?
Like Yoji being the best of making black clothes.
Yoji Yamamoto, one of the best designers in the world. Bro's been making. He's the goat of making black clothes. Like you should go down the Yoji Yamamoto rabbit hole. He's been how long he's been making clothes? Like 30 years or something? Maybe more.
What? 30 years? Oh, Luka. Yoji Yamamoto's Paris debut was like in 1981. That was what, like 45 years ago? 30 years? Come on, Luka. You have to give Yoji Yamamoto more respect than that. He's been making clothes forever.
Yeah.
The guy just makes black clothes. And he's found every fucking way to make... I don't even understand how he finds new ways to like...
That's incorrect. Yoji Yamamoto does... Luka! Stop misguiding Kai Cenat. Like... Yoji doesn't only make black clothing. Luka. Luka. We're just spreading misinformation. Come on, Luka.
Make a fucking trench coat. But like, that's why when you see a Yoji person in Tokyo, they Yoji down. That's all they wear. Like he makes black clothes and white shirts. That's like his whole shit, and it's fine.
No, Luka. Luka. Yoji doesn't only make black clothes and white shirts. Luka. No. No.
And like there's a reason you go to brands for certain things, right? Like you want a good who do you go
You
to?
wanna go to the gym, you gonna go Nike. You wanna go to goddamn pop out somewhere and get a fire bag, you gonna look at the ones that sell bags.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is you
for
known
suits? I'm gonna go YSL. I
Yeah.
love the way
I love
YSL suits
YSL
fit me.
too.
They're paying.
I
You
love
feel like $1
YSL.
million. When you put on a YSL, Yves Saint Laurent, Anthony Vaccarello suit, you feel like you're smoking niggas. Like you're just that guy. Like you want good leather pants? You already know you're going to Chrome. Like there's just
Facts.
people for everything. So it's like, what is your contribution to the fashion? What do you want people to go to you for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Once you like dial that shit, accessories is a fucking amazing way to start, bro. And it's versatile as fuck. And it's especially if you can make like semi-affordable accessories.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
An amazing brand and brand perception is everything. Like look at Skims, right? It's an inexpensive brand, but see how the brand feels expensive? But
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
It feels expensive.
Yeah, Luca's back to cooking. He's back to cooking. Skims is literally like an ultra fast fashion brand in like fundamentally what it is and how it's manufactured and everything about it. But the marketing campaigns of Skims, wow. The way it's branded, the people that wear it, the collaborations they do, the activations they do, how the activations look. Yeah, Luca is cooking.
But it's not, right?
Yeah,
it's like very affordable.
Yeah.
But there's a reason it's cool, and people back that shit. Like, you know, people don't feel as cool. I don't know, wearing like Zara, right? But Zara is like the same price.
It's really
It's
good,
not-
and they shit good as fuck.
It's
too.
good, but like it doesn't feel as expensive as Skims. But you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like the brand perception. It doesn't have to be expensive to feel
It's good.
expensive.
Right.
And so you got to curate that vibe.
Right.
You know, it's something very cool to explore. One, it's expensive, and it
Facts.
actually it's all show. Like, you know, no pun intended. It really is all show. Like it's just marketing. I don't know. Like I'm avoiding my first fashion show because I don't feel like just the press, the people, the show, the looks, the models. Like I'm still building my brand. I want people to go in the stores. Like now I got a whole lot of new stores that are buying marking distance, and we're introducing new products. Next season we're making shoes. I want people to like have experienced the brand, go to my pop-ups, go to my events, this, that, third, like once people understand the ethos of the brand. And he came to my showroom, right? I built this insane like vibe, the music, the posters, the wall of speakers. I'm still creating my world.
Fire.
And when I'm ready,
You go do it.
like I'm gonna do it on my own
It's gonna
time.
be crazy, yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna
That's good to
spend
think about
probably
it.
$2 million, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna make me any money back, but people are gonna be like, "That was a sick show."
Cool, yeah.
And the thing is, with fashion shows, once you start doing them by the book, you kind of just have to keep doing.
You keep getting addicted.
Yeah, Luca is cooking. Fashion shows are a waste of money. Honestly, it's the biggest waste of money. It's not an efficient use of money. There's better ways to market than fashion shows. And the problem is, especially if you show at somewhere like Milan or Paris Fashion Week, the season that you don't do it, it looks perception-wise like your brand is like struggling, and it looks like, you know, your brand is going downhill and declining. It's just how it looks. And fashion a lot of times is all about perception. Luca made a very good point earlier about how Skims really is fast fashion when you think about it, but it just feels luxury. And I know exactly what he's talking about. It's the way it's marketed, the way it's branded, where you see it, the stores that you see it, the stores that it's associated with. In the UK, I just went to a Skims and Selfridges event. They're only working with like luxury department stores. They're not going to work with the cheaper department stores. So it's just all about like curation, to be honest. And I think if you know what you're doing, you don't need to do runway shows and waste money. I think runway shows make sense when you make so much money that you can use that as part of your marketing budget. Now it starts to make sense. So, like an LVMH brand like Dior or Louis Vuitton, it makes sense for them because they make so much money that they have those kind of marketing budgets where it just makes sense to just have more marketing in general and more marketing opportunities. But I think the cost versus benefit when you're a small brand doing runway shows doesn't actually make any sense. It really doesn't.
Yeah. There's 3 people. Like, I just love the way Virgil approached the situation where Virgil, I kind of felt like he was helping her. Like, he was helping people.
Yeah, for sure.
And then after with Ye, I just like how he didn't settle. Like, Ye didn't settle for the one thing that he was known for.
Yeah.
You know, he always pushed the boundaries. And I just love how Demna was the first person, like, in the hood. Like,
So Kai, the reason why Ye is taken seriously in fashion is because, like, literally, it's so weird calling him Ye when you've known him as Kanye West your whole life. But anyway, Ye, he was in fashion for so long before he ever started his brand. Like, so long. And when I say started his brand, he really tried brands before and they didn't really work. Yeezy was the one that really worked, but he tried things before and they didn't work. So that tells you a lot about how difficult fashion is. And even he was an A-list celebrity damn near, and he was interning at Fendi with Virgil Abloh. That's one thing. He has an eye. Like, Ye saw the talent of Demna before he went to Balenciaga. Before he even started Vetements. So he has an eye. He understands fashion deeply because he's been around it for so long. And he's a pioneer in fashion, especially from a style perspective. And he just has ideas. I mean, like, Yeezy is literally the blueprint of what Skims is now. So Skims is $1 billion business. And all of those ideas are really just Yeezy season 1 and 2. Like, literally rehashed into an athleisure brand. So there's many things that I think when people say, you know, Ye didn't settle and all that stuff, I think people are not seeing the years he spent in fashion and learning about fashion and being around fashion people and talking to designers and being friends with designers and interning.
Like, when I first seen Demna's work, I'm like, bro, this shit look weird as fuck. But he would dominate this shit crazy.
What's cool about Demna, I want to touch on all 3 of those people because I know them personally. Because he is what people would consider an outcast originally in fashion, right? He's into like
breaking codes.
You know, breaking codes. He worked for Margiela, and you know, he's like into like weird music and weird subcultures that people used to make fun of, whether it's like, you know, goth culture or hardcore music, techno, things that are typically like not popular, right? Like, it's not the status quo to like these things.
Okay, Luka. Demna is from Georgia. Obviously he grew up, obviously when he fled because he was a refugee because of the war, he grew up around a lot of European countries. Now in Europe, techno is very popular. Like, techno is not seen as weird. Like, everyone listens to techno in Europe. Everyone dances to techno. There are techno clubs all around Europe. I'm talking Germany, Croatia, Italy, England. Like, there's techno clubs everywhere. Techno is not weird. It's not like some counterculture in Europe. Maybe it is in other places, but like, when I was growing up, techno was super popular in Europe.
And he made the whole world think that these things that nobody thought were cool, what, like wearing fucking dressing like Euro trash with those fucking big ass sneakers. He had motherfuckers dressing like European soccer dads. Like he had motherfuckers dressing like emo kids that used to get fucking like made fun of in high school and shit like that. Like he got the whole world to think that's tight. And like people that used to like clown this shit was actually like fighting to get into this shit. And that is just amazing because he just like he's just a master at marketing and just making good product that's relevant for its times. And then like Virgil
Okay, I don't know about that synopsis for Demna. I'm a Demna fan, but like why I would say Demna is a good designer is for way different reasons. But anyway, let's just move forward. I don't know if I don't know that was a good explanation to someone like Kai, who's obviously like building his. I don't think that was a good enough explanation of like Demna as a designer.
Loved about him and what I'm trying to like still get to is that like what I loved about him, he just did everything. He was like
He's good at anything.
He said it himself. He wasn't even good at everything, but he just trusted the process. Like he would do everything, and whatever worked, and whatever didn't, and then he would still work on the things. And sometimes he'd put out the idea, even if it wasn't done. Like, and that's something that I can't find myself to live by yet, but it inspires me because like he would put out shit. He would put out unfinished product, and then like 4 seasons later, he'd still be making the same thing, but the last version that came out is the best version that came out. When you see some of the stuff he did at LV, they were unfinished ideas from Allplay, but he finally like nailed it. And he just like he was an open book. He put everything out on the internet. He was just like such a source of information, and like he was so tapped into like the culture and bringing the youth in, and like
Yeah, that's what I feel like he had the one up on people.
Yeah,
Like he just indulged into the culture of people and like made people like just seeing what he did with y'all and just like bring y'all, you know, like he had niggas in the Louis factory, you know, in the Louis offices, you know.
Going like I was in the fucking LV office. Like,
You being able to just say that shit though, you being able to just say that shit is crazy.
And then
y'all was just open. He was just opening doors for niggas.
Quite literally breaking it open, like bro.
And so many designers are successful because Virgil put them on, basically. Like, Virgil was the most democratic designer at a major luxury house we've ever seen and probably will ever see. Like, it's insane.
He had skaters in there. He had everybody in that bitch, bro. Like, and that's why Louis Vuitton had so much soul when he was there, because you could tell the whole culture was truly behind him, because he opened the doors and people respected him for that, you know? And Kanye, it's like, he's just like, you know, people can say whatever they want, but he is more or less like the GOAT, right? Like, he's like kind of influenced like everything that's happened in fashion in the past 10 years. Like, no matter how.
Relax. 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 Kanye West is ultra influential, but influence everything. Relax. Relax.
How you look at it, right? So it's like him popping off Riccardo Tisci, Givenchy, that changed fashion. How people, he's the reason, like, really, like, high fashion brands wanted to start making sneakers. People were, bro, you think none of these brands was making sneakers?
Like,
yeah, like, like, LV Kanye shoes, like,
it's a life changer.
That was the game changer, bro. And then it's like, he was, you know, the first big person to wear Vetmonts, Debna. That put him on a whole different, like, pedestal. You know what I'm saying? Which then it put all the eyes on Debna, or like even, I mean, Skims has like Ye's DNA all over it. I mean, I think he like designed that logo. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just so, and like, you know, he's got his fucking problems, of course, but
that's what makes him him.
Yeah, he truly, like, his hands have touched more or less everything that's happened in fashion, whether people want to give him the credit or not. Like, like there's 10 degrees of separation. It's like people are copying things that other brands are doing that Kanye influenced to do in the first place, and they don't even know that Kanye influenced that shit.
Agreed. He's correct with that. The sneaker point he made, because he said Kanye influenced fashion. I'm like, slow down. I think Kanye influenced sneakers and footwear in fashion, yes. The clothing side, not so much. But in terms of footwear, 100%. Those Louis Vuitton Dons, they came out in, I think, 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And I know a lot of sneakers launched like shortly after, around that time too. Like I remember that was around the time that Valentino had their Rockstud collection. I think, when was that? That was like fall winter 2010 or something like that, right? And then you had like, that was the era of the Balenciaga Arenas and the Balenciaga Runners and the Louboutin sneakers. And then that's, a lot of brands started to see that, that makes a lot of money. That's actually like there's a lot of hype around sneakers. That this is a category we should focus a lot on. And then Demna took it and just took it to the moon with the Triple S and those Balenciaga sock sneakers. And then the whole industry changed. So I definitely think that Kanye West is responsible for absolutely restructuring the way that luxury brands design and even view sneakers as a product category. 100% agreed.
Do you know what I mean? And that's just like unprecedented. You know what I mean? And on top of that, he's just like making the best music in the world. So it's like unstoppable. Yeah.
Someone said, what about the Prada sneakers? Yeah, a lot of luxury sneakers were around, but it wasn't really. So like the Prada cups, for example, were already around. What are those Prada sneakers that they re-released recently? Those were around too. What are they called again? I need to find them now. I need to find them. What are they called? The ones that is Prada's answer to the Dries Van Noten sneakers that they relaunched recently. That was from like the 2000s. I'm just gonna go on their website. I need to find these. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna find these now. 1 second. See what? Yes, there we go. So this sneaker here, the Monte Carlo, which is a re-edition from 2005. These also existed before. These existed before, basically. Let me move my face because I'm literally blocking the view. Blocking the view, sire. Let me move to the other side so you guys can actually see the sneakers. But so these here, these right here, these Monte Carlos, these were in 2005. So there were a lot of sneakers, but a lot of you probably don't know these sneakers because they weren't that popular. So in terms of like popularity, and then people understanding that, okay, sneakers is like a massive category in fashion and there's so much money to be made in mass, we can definitely give Kanye West the credit for that one. Sure, for sure.
You're venturing into it, so start slow and then gradually get fast,
And if you show them 5 of the best shit, bro,
It's going like you can't deny product.
If the 5 looks you present are absolute pain, the end. Like,
Yeah.
And then, like you said, like you got the journal, bro. You can still put out all that shit. You can still put that shit out.
Right.
So
people can follow the story and be like, okay, this is why he didn't do this.
This is why this
is why he. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that
And
shit
just
will
thinking,
come out.
yeah.
But you're just presenting the best stuff that's ready right now. The best shit
stuff.
you got. And
Okay.
then the other shit is still cooking, my nigga.
Right.
Like you got all this
Yeah.
time. Like you got the resources, you got the money, you got the factories. Like don't even like stress yourself out doing too much. Like, just do what you
Do
know
what you know you can master.
best. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got this, man.
I really appreciate it. I needed that right there, bro.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just like, you know, the industry. We were just like every 10 years, like there's the shift. Like I just think there should be just more young people.
Yeah.
Just like it.
And also, also the reason why I wanted to like take it so serious is because like, bro, I look around at a lot of brands of people who's my age, and it's like, bro, it's literally a slap of a name and it's hell.
Yeah.
Like there's no meaning, no nothing, and I'm like,
It's good that Kai Cenat sees that. And that was probably also what he was referring to when we were DMing each other, where he said, you know, he's aware that a lot of like famous people and like celebrities, they just kind of just don't take it seriously and just see it as like a cash grab. So he is correct. His assessment is definitely sound.
I think if a person like me shows this is the way you should take it serious, or a fraction of that, people would then approach their brands at a more serious angle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a more serious angle to where they're like, okay, now, okay, if like Kai is showing me, like, bro, it's okay. I have the power to turn on the camera, show something, and the world sees it.
Yeah.
You know, so if I can do that and I can preach that, I think people will like it, and like people would know of it. You know, like example, like me reading and shit, like, bro, the topic of conversation.
Shouldn't even.
You could, yeah. And first of all, whether people like it or not shouldn't even matter. But but I know there's always going to be people who like it. I don't even like everybody. Yeah. So it's like, how the fuck everybody gonna like me?
Yeah. Straight up. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like when you realize so many people that hate, they really just be wanting to be cool, bro. Like I'm like sometimes I'm like chronically online and I go through my DMs and I went through a DM of like a super fan, and I went back to like his first DM was like, "You tough, I look up to you." This, that, third, and like over now it's like, "Fuck you, nigga. Your brand ass. This sucks." But it's like, bro, just mad that like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it started as love, bro. Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say?
Then they switch up,
and like,
and after when they switch up, somebody else is loving you.
And remember this, we live, unfortunately, like everything is so negative. Like the fact that everybody's talking about those fucking, what are those fucking bots that just went to the club playing that fucking Heil Hitler song? It's like, everybody's, that's negativity. It's so negative, man. Yeah. And it's like.
But I've never in my life, like, would have thought the day would come where I read and niggas clown it.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is crazy as fuck. So like I had to turn off the noise. I'm like, yeah, like it's so crazy.
Yeah, I agree with Kai Cenat about that. Like Kai Cenat is definitely right. Like Kai Cenat, for people that don't know, he has been filming himself while he's reading. So he's been reading a lot recently, and he films himself, or he does like streams, I believe, of him reading. And a lot of people have been clowning him, saying that's corny, blah blah blah. There is nothing corny about reading and learning and gaining knowledge. There is quite literally nothing corny about it. And if anything, going back to Kai Cenat and Kai having so much influence, especially with younger people, I think it's fantastic that, you know, Kai is encouraging others to read, especially younger kids. Because as you guys know, statistically, the literacy rate of young kids these days is declining at a rapid rate. So if you have influential people that, you know, speak to that consumer, telling them why it's cool to read and kind of showing them about what he's reading, I think that's only a net positive. So some things like that I see Kai Cenat get hate for really confuses me. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't make sense.
Where like I can scroll the internet with low anxiety of seeing something that somebody gonna say mean to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, fuck that. Like I'm scrolling it. I'm like, one post can tweak my emotion in real time. Oh, this is too dangerous.
You see that meme where it's like somebody tweets like I just got my dick sucked to some 500 retweets, and it's like I got the job, 5 retweets. It's like people just like right now don't like positivity, bro.
Yeah.
Like so it's a reflection of self. Like, I feel like there's so much negativity, bro. It's like when good shit happens, people are like, oh cool, like likes. But they'll like something positive, but retweet something negative. They'd love to jump on a hate bandwagon.
That's so true. I mean, even I see this on my channel, right? So a lot of collections I really like. Like when I'm going to Italy today, but when I come back from Italy in 4 days, I'm gonna start doing streams on all the shows from Milan Fashion Week to Paris Fashion Week. And you'll see that most of the shows I actually did like them. But what's gonna happen, which typically happens, is the collections that I like, people won't watch those videos or those clips, because I'm going to be like, XYZ collection is amazing. And then the ones I don't like, when I title it something sensational, like, why is XYZ still designing? And then it just gets like loads of views. It's just a reflection of society. And then on top of it, people have the gall, they have the cheek to come into my streams and be like, you're always negative about clothes. And I'm like, I literally posted 5 positive reviews. You just decided to only watch the negative ones. So it is a big reflection of the society we're in right now, where when you talk about really negative things, people are really interested. And when you're positive, like, people are less interested. Really strange.
But they'll never be like, let's all fuck with this shit together. It's like, the whole shit's just like, I don't know. So just keep that in mind, like, because I turned the noise off with the negativity.
I always say,
like what people are fueled by.
You know what's crazy? I always say this shit. I say, damn, people like you're not on the internet as much as somebody like me. But I always say, bro, people need to hear what you're talking about. Yeah. Like, as much as you fucking probably don't like the internet, people need to hear that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
people gotta hear that shit. That's why I like to record shit and save it. Cause like
this, I'm like, will come out later, and obviously I want to prove something.
Yeah, I want this shit.
Yeah. But like, when I realized, bro, like, the internet is kind of like an uphill battle, and like, you'll never win against the internet. You can't. That's when I really just like got off the internet, bro. And like, I still be on the internet. It's my job, but I don't be talking about nothing. Like, exactly, bro.
Invested.
Like
I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. Ever since I stepped back, like, every human interaction is special to me.
Yeah. Kai once again, because that hate wall. I think Kai just needs to focus on what he's doing. Focus on, he's in Italy, he's in Paris, he's learning about fashion. He's at Paris Fashion Week. I mean, I met him at Milan Fashion Week. So just learn about the industry and be in the industry. A lot of people that are clowning him or saying, oh, Kai, this, that, whatever, they've never been to Fashion Week. They've never worked in the fashion industry a day in their lives. They don't know what production even is. They've never been to a factory before. So it's just, you can't, the internet is just full of like, and not in this stream most of the time, because this stream is like quite niche. This channel is niche, but like generally, the internet is just full of people that like don't have a clue, but they think they know. So, and it's annoying, because when you're in it, like someone like me who, a lot of brands that people talk about, I work with them. I know the designers. I know even the CMOs sometimes, because that's who I work with, because I work in marketing. So most of the time I know the CMOs at a lot of brands. And like, they'll like argue about stuff, and it's like, factually, no, that's like factually incorrect. But they will like argue, like they are convicted in that thought. So it's just, you just have to focus on what you're doing, and you share your thoughts based on the expertise and like what you're learning, and then you leave the internet. What you shouldn't do is dwell on the internet and get annoyed at people and that sort of stuff. That's what you shouldn't give that kind of energy to the internet.
So fuck if it's a goddamn waiter. I'm actually saying, like, when I'm on stream, I'm like,
the way we became friends, bro, like, it's just random, like,
organic.
We have a mutual friend, and that she never introduces me to anybody, and she never introduces him to anybody.
And she
She knows I don't want to. I already know everybody I want to know. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't need to know no more niggas, bro. Like I ain't gonna hold you, bro. You know what I mean? And it's like she was like, you know, this guy like he's got an interesting point of view in fashion, and he likes this stuff. We just have mutual shit, like things that we fucked with. She introduced us, like
you never know.
Friends in Texas. He went to Tokyo. I gave him some rags. Like we've been kicking it for like 3 days. Like nobody even know we friends for real, but like that's okay. You get what I'm trying to say? Like
organic way.
It's just organic and like it's nice that way, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not like telling nobody I'm hanging out with this nigga because
it's genuine. It's like real life.
In the sense of like.
And that's why I said, like, even with the camera, I apologize for doing it, but it's very important that, like, later on in the year, your perspective on, like, I don't know, like, you ever seen somebody, like, you ever not know about somebody, and then after, like, when they see them, when people see, like, an interview or something, like, you just realize how cool that person is?
Yeah.
A lot of people not gonna be able to meet you, bro. So it's like, me personally, I'm thinking from my perspective, and I know so much other people think like this, is like, shit like this, like conversations with Luka, just raw, like it's powerful.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And I just know, like later on, like when I show you it for like later this year, like I really want to drop a lot of this shit after I release my shit.
Yeah.
But it's like it's important because it's like people gotta hear this shit. Yeah. And also the reason why I don't like it to be live is because one, you don't ever know what we're gonna talk about. Yeah. Two, it's anxiety. Like, yo, who watching? It's anxiety.
Power of editing.
It's anxiety. Yeah. And also you're not. It's anxiety, bro. It's anxiety. And plus, like when I'm live, I'm looking at the chat. I'm not really taking in. You know.
Take a step back.
Yeah.
Shit from this third person.
Bro, I'm looking at this shit. Bro,
200 times about what.
Even your facial expression, people can.
Yeah, like. Yeah, because us as live streamers, bro, like. But this is my perspective of it. I came into live streaming and content. I always like cameras, but I came into live streaming because I had a rough upbringing, and my escape was YouTube. My escape was gaming. My escape was content creators, right? Just watch videos all day, like escaping reality.
No, I mean what you
and
built
then like
is cool.
Yeah, and
I've like been following it from. I mean, not following it, but like I would see it on the internet from like you streaming in your room to like you doing these crazy ass streams and like making these like cool short little commercials. Actual production value.
Yeah, and I'm a part of all of that. Like I'm the one.
I definitely understand that point of view. I mean, the reason why I started making videos on YouTube initially was because like I was learning about all this fashion stuff and there was no one to talk about it with. Because like people need to understand, I'm actually a nerd. I'm actually a geek. I'm actually like a fashion nerd. So like, I probably, because like when you're learning about stuff, and like my friends are just like, oh yeah, there's this like cool thing, and then I'm like, oh, did you know? It like you don't want to be that annoying person, so you'd rather find people that think like you and are like you and want to learn about fashion in that same way. So that was why I initially started the videos, and obviously like I wanted to be a fashion journalist, so it was an extension of that too. And it's just me understanding also like this idea of like new media and fashion, and that journalists were going to transition to social media anyway. So it's all of that all packaged into one. So when Kai says that YouTube and streaming was an escape, like I definitely understand what he means.
Behind the scenes, putting that all together. So it's like I also want some shit where it's like, damn, bro, I wanna like when that was my escape. So when I started streaming, I came into the fact of knowing that like there's somebody out there who's gonna watch your stream that needs it as an escape from their reality.
And I'm not gonna lie, I had to defend you to a few niggas. Actually, like, bro, there's like rooms of like 15 people with computers, fucking coolers, this, that, and third. You've got to plan fucking
everything.
This, that, like
everything.
It's not
at
just
least
like,
me.
Oh, come over. Let's
At least me. Like when I first started, it was like just come over. But if it's like a big project where I'm there for 30 days, I have to know what the fuck is happening for that day.
Yeah.
And Mafia 3 stressed me. It's my favorite one because that one stressed me out the most.
Yeah.
But that one was like, hey Kai, you need to step back and you need to live life. Just chill. As much as you want to make people happy and make everybody good,
what you love to do is like just chill.
Yeah.
So that's why I love it. And like, I don't know, bro. Like,
I'm just gonna call my girlfriend back real quick so she
Yeah.
doesn't think I'm doing anything.
yeah, I know how that go. No, yeah, but like, bro, that like I just want to, and I know like that's what's gonna be. This is what's gonna fuck them up. It's like streaming is so new, so it's like, what does Kai have to bring to fashion?
Yeah.
And it's like that right there. It's like, bro, I have the power to flip a switch, and everybody a part of it. And also, I'm going with the
Kai's cooking. I even say this like, I don't know how, because fashion is such a big thing. Everyone wears clothes. The industry is huge. All the fashion brands make, especially the big ones, they make tons of money. I do not understand how there is not one prominent fashion streamer. And that's why what Kai starting a brand is very fascinating, because it's like so untapped from a media perspective. Like, why is there no fashion streamer? And I'm not even saying it has to be me, just in general, because I think what I talk about is too niche for me to ever be like mainstream. But like, surely there's someone that talks about fashion in a more mainstream way. Like, why is there no prominent fashion streamer? Like, very interesting.
mindset with like all these major brands. I understand it's not real genuine people. It's corporations making money that just want to capitalize on anything new. So when they approach me, I know when to deny.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Because they look at you like a dollar sign.
Yeah, so shit, so it's like shit, you can't phase me. Like, I'd rather have genuine interactions with people like you, people who live for this shit, like real life.
Yeah.
Because say this shit
versus some guy that like works at fucking Dior that's like, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Me trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes. And it's like,
I don't want anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like,
I'm good, man. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like say this shit. When this shit works the way it does, who knows, bro? Like, I'll be able to like spark stream off a laptop and show us just lit, just having fun. Like, damn, like, and I feel like this reset is very healthy for me, bro. I feel like it's very, 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 very healthy for me. And I really got to see the side of the internet that God wanted to show me, which is like, I wanted to speak up with those who was going through shit, and I also wanted to be vulnerable. But I showed y'all that. I got clowned for it. So now I'm about to get in the lab. And prove everybody wrong. And it's like, I'm gonna just keep shutting the fuck up and keep putting out good shit.
Yeah.
You know, I could go experiencing live stream shit, and I'm like, yo.
I touched on it earlier. I don't think that Kai should stop documenting. I understand there's been a lot of hate and like people saying, oh, maybe some things he has done are like performative, including me, but like it's not. It's more to do with like the way he's doing it rather than the fact that he is doing it. But I'm talking from a like, because I think I was being objective in my critique. If people are just hating, just ignore them. But like, I just think there's just a different way to go about doing it. And I think if someone is like respected in fashion and they work in the industry, I think Kai should like take on board their critique. But if it's just some like random person on the internet, just ignore them, honestly.
Yeah, all the people in the room, and then we could just like, I don't fucking know, nigga, like do shit like this. Like with me doing clothes, there was parts of my life that I really wanted to show publicly. Yeah. Because people just didn't know.
And people need to know.
And they need to know.
Because they never seen it.
They need to know because then they'll understand why I'm moving the way I'm moving. Not that I have to explain it to them. No. But it's like,
you don't owe them anything.
Yeah. But it's like, this is why I am the way I am.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So, it be shit like this I appreciate, bro. And, you know, something I will always remember. You feel me?
Yeah. I appreciate you for hitting me and
yeah, bro.
You know, just coming.
Yeah, you know, we met back in Paris. That shit was genuine. That shit was fire.
Yeah, he came to.
With no security.
I didn't have no security. Just came in, and his photographer. But we just like, I just moved into my apartment.
Are you still there?
Nah, I moved back to New York.
Oh, what made you want to move back?
I met the love of my life. One and two. As much as I love Paris, New York has a level of convenience that like.
What you mean?
Like, just little shit like being able to get lunch shit.
Yeah. New York is the greatest city in the world, bro. I want to go. I want to live back in New York.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. That be open, nigga. You can hop on the street, nigga. You can go. Oh my God.
I live in the Upper East Side, man.
But you always out here though.
Yeah, what was I? Dude, I come out here like fucking 10 times a year. You know what I mean? Like,
How are you out here? When the next time you'll be out here? Do you know?
yeah, like February, and then I'll be back.
Well, Europe in general, you're just out here for your clothes and shit, right?
Yeah, like my factory's in Italy.
Right.
My mom lives in Normandy.
Right. Normandy, Europe?
Yeah, Normandy, France. Yeah.
Wow.
I had a lot of family here. My grandma still lives here. I have childhood friends here. Like, I just, I grew up here, man, so I just come out here, and then in the summer I go to Ibiza. I love landing in America, seeing those 50 stars and those 13 stripes. Like, America has its downs, especially in this day and age, but it is really like one of the
refreshing.
greatest
It's refreshing.
When you travel, like, I mean, you spent time in Japan, and I'm sure you love, everybody just loves home. Like, even I grew up here, like, I don't know, there's customs and stuff that are amazing, but, like, sometimes you just want to go.
Yeah, home. Yeah. I know that feeling, bro. As much as I love Japan.
How did it feel that you were in Italy for a month and you just come
Oh my God, yo, when I was in Italy for that long, and I came back home, I'm like, American deli, my cars, nigga. I'm at home, feet kicked up,
You can, like, eat at a normal
You can eat out, yeah. Everybody understand you and shit.
It's undefeated. Like, that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
What are you doing tonight?
Shit, I don't know. I'll probably go back home. They invited me to some shit, but
I just know what I value. I know my ethics, and I just, like, also, I understand, like, my worth and, like, my presence. And, like, people think that, like, I get invited to so much shit, and it's not even that I don't, I mean, actually, it is that I don't want to go. I ain't even gonna hold you, but it's just, like, sometimes I just don't want to put myself in some rooms, just because of the energy and, like, how people are very vultures, like, yo, Luka, man, like, sometimes the love don't be love, bro.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? And
I know exactly what he's talking about, and I'm glad he's telling Kai about that, because yeah, I literally dealt with that with a certain brand that shall not be mentioned, but yeah, that happens a lot, where you just, even though you're invited, even though they want to pay you, just don't want to be in that room. I know exactly what Luka's talking about.
Just, like, I don't even want to be around that anymore. Like, I'm with people that love me every day, man. I'm with, like, my cat, my dog, my girlfriend, my friends, my family, bro. Like,
Fire.
If you see me somewhere, just know I got a bag, bro. If you see me anywhere where there's people, know that the wire's up, bro. I ain't never gonna know that the street, bro.
I feel that.
It just don't work like that, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only time you see, but the only time when people see you is like they know you're genuine with them.
Yeah.
Like, when I see you at Cardi show, I'm like, this nigga never outside. This nigga on stage.
Yeah, bro, that's my, like.
And that, like, your lights and shit hard.
Like, you just have to, like, believe in yourself, and what I mean by that, I don't know, it's so, like,
cliche, like, everybody hear that shit.
But it's like knowing your worth, and, like, what I was telling him earlier, like, everything is in your brain. Like, all of your worth is, like, what you have in your head. You know what I mean? There's a reason, like, there's a reason you built what you built, and, like, even when shit, like, might go left, or, like, people might not believe in you, or if something happens, or, like, people love you when you're up, and then the moment you go down, niggas is like, look the other way. It's like, there's a reason you were up in the first place, you know what I'm saying? And just trusting your own process, and as long as, like, you can sleep at night, and that you're being a good person, and, like, you truly believe in what you're doing, like, none of the noise matters, and, like, all the potential, you have it already. So, yeah, that's really it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's been points where, like, I was just, like, down red, and, like, niggas was talking about, like, I fell off, and this, that, and third, and it's like, I knew my earning potential. I knew that I knew that I loved clothes. I knew that my taste meant something. I knew that every relationship I've garnered in my life meant something, and they were genuine, because I surrounded myself with people that actually love me, and people that actually value me. And, like, when I felt like I had nothing, I kind of, like, had to lock in. I was like, what makes me me? Like, why do like people like me? Me? And why should like what is my worth? And I was just like, there was a point where I really thought like I would have nothing, bro. I was like really down bad. And the earning potential is just like there, bro. Like, it's all in your fucking head. All the ideas are there. All the relationships are there. All the information is there. Everything you've ever learned means something. You know what I'm saying? And like, you just have to know how to use it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Love you, dog.
Well, that might be the end of the video. Yeah,
I don't know, bro.
that was great advice from Luka Sabbat. Like I said earlier, Luka is in a fantastic position to give advice. I think he's like been in and around fashion for so long. He understands. Am I going to agree with him about everything? Obviously not. And there are things that, or certain points that he made that I disagree. But, you know, overall, I think Luka gave Kai really good advice. And it's great that Luka is friends with Kai, because I didn't know they were friends. So that's someone who Kai can, you know, constantly reach out to when he has questions to ask. I think Luka is definitely qualified to give like Kai reasonable and extremely useful information. So that was good. That was a good watch. That was a really good watch. But anyway, lastly, guys, the last thing I wanted to talk about today is Supreme's collaboration with MM6. This literally, the younger version of myself would have been so excited about something like this, to be honest. So yeah, let's just go through some of the looks, see what we think about them, and whatever. A lot of them, Supreme is kind of weird. Like Supreme does this thing where they'll design like, it'll be like 90 looks and they'll design 15 sensational products. And then the other products just look like the designers, they took their time on a 15 and then the rest of the collection, they were just tired and sleepy. And then they were like, just put whatever on whatever and pair whatever with whatever. That's how like a lot of the collections end up looking. And it's so annoying when they do that, because I definitely got that vibe with this collection. Like all the money stuff, I'm not the biggest fan of, to be honest. The eagle print, I don't know. On the bag, it looked especially bad. It's not too bad on the leather jacket. The distressed denim is actually really cool. Because it's that like banchetto technique, you know, that painting Margiela technique that they use, kind of recontextualized into distressing. That's actually really interesting. So I like what they've done with the distressing on the denim, and there's different colorways. So there's like a white, there's then like the blue, and then yeah, just more eagle motifs everywhere. Supreme jackets like this, not the biggest fan. Those like money Timberland boots look terrible, I must say, by the way. They look awful. Those money Timberland boots, I don't know, like stuff like this. So for example, they're trying to do the deconstructed, reconstructed inside out design, because that's very Margiela, but not executed well on this like football jersey that they made. Like American football jersey. I don't like the execution of that, but I understand the idea. It makes sense. A lot of American football motifs, to be fair, they're doing this sort of like split tee. It's kind of very much deconstructed, reconstructed. I do like the graphic of like this Margiela 6, because obviously it's like MM6, Maison Margiela 6. So I like kind of like the graphic of that, not so much the prints. This was obviously a big talking point because Supreme is doing, normally they do a BOGO, but this is like a zip up BOGO, straight in the middle, which is like very different. And then obviously with the paint splatters. Now this was so disappointing, because it's like, you're going to do a zip up BOGO with MM6. you have to do a bit more Margiela than just the very light paint splatters. We understand it. There's very Margiela to do the paint splatters. There's the paint splatters on the shoes. Like, we get it, but I just think could be executed a lot better, to be honest. Yeah, it could be executed way, way, way better on that garment there. Okay, this is the white version with the paint splatters, and it looks multicolored, like the multicolored paint splatters you get on the shoes. Once again, the execution could have been so much better. This is really cool. Something I always appreciate about Supreme is they always have these miscellaneous items. So here they have the heavy bag and then the boxing gloves. Definitely a collector's item. It's not something that you can actually use. I mean, there's like fur on the heavy bag and on the boxing gloves. I can't imagine that's gonna last very long if you actually use it. But yeah, the box logo again. It just looks very... Because the thing about Margiela, historically, there's a lot of like working class signifiers in Maison Margiela when Martin was still designing, which made sense because it reflected his own personal reality. So having paint splatters that genuinely looks like a painter that just kind of had his thing randomly stained is very Margiela, but I just think execution-wise, it still could have been better. This is horrid. This eagle print on the backpack is absolutely atrocious. The heavy bag, I definitely really like that. The boxing gloves. Yeah, these are the shoes I said were atrocious. These are horrible. These like $ Timberland boots, whatever we're calling these are a shit show. These are an absolute shit show. Like, this is terrible. That's so bad. Terrible, 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 terrible. Terrible, awful. Moving on. They've got like a cloth with the Margiela 6 and the eagle. $ fleece. Another different kind of fleece. Leather jacket with the eagle print. Yeah, so these are just like the product photos of every look. So very interesting, very intriguing. Obviously, like Margiela and Supreme collaborating is always going to be a big story. Well, it's not like mainline Margiela, but MM6. And I just think, I think this collaboration had so much potential considering it's an MM6 collab. And I just think that, you know, they could have executed it so much better. Like so much better. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What did you guys think about the MM6 Supreme collaboration? I'm curious to get all of your thoughts on the collaboration before I go. Okay, someone said very lazy. Damn, Team Ucore market specials. Fair enough. But yeah, that's the whole shebang about the Margiela collaboration with Supreme. Someone said it literally looks like Chinese factory blanks with Supreme sticked on it. Damn. That's tough. Charisse. Oh, hi, Charisse. The question is, what is the Zara archive? Yeah, a lot of people have been asking that because they're saying that John Galliano is going to be designing, recontextualizing, they say, the Zara archives. And people are like, what, a landfill? Some people are saying, oh, are those the same archives of all the luxury brands whose work they copy? So it's very interesting to see. They've been very vague about a lot of details. But I think it'll be very interesting to see, to be honest. But anyway, on that note, guys, I have a flight to catch. I'm going to Italy. So thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys. I wanted to, just stream because I haven't streamed in a while. And in my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to Italy. I'm not going to stream for another like 4 days. I'll just forfeit sleep and just, do the stream. Hopefully when I get to Italy, I'll be able to sleep. So yeah, but thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next